Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with a live stream discussion on this tropical wave that is located not far, well, some distance, about 600 to 700 miles to the east of the Windward Islands. We do got some new model data. We have a whole home plate full of tabs tonight, 32 tabs open on my web browser that we literally have to digest through. So this is gonna probably end up being one of the longest live stream discussions on the YouTube channel in a little while. But before I do get started, make sure you invite everybody into the live stream because I am going to go into a lot of detail on what we're seeing with our ensembles, with what we're seeing with our deterministic forecasts as far as this tropical wave goes. And here's a little bit of some dessert for you all. If you guys do really well and patient for this live stream, we will look at our Gulf of Mexico storm. I know that to a lot of you, that's probably like, David, show that first to us. We're going to do what has the higher chances of probability, and then we'll go into the Gulf of Mexico. But that's going to wait until the very end of this live stream within the next 35, maybe 45 minutes or so. Then we'll get to questions. All right. So looking at our latest goes, and I'm not going to try to cough in the stream. Yes, it's kind of allergy season again, the second last half of summer. So here's a look at the GOES 16 True Color Visible Satellite Imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. And we are keeping an eye on this tropical wave that we have been discussing on my last video and in my previous videos, which, by the way, thank you all for tuning in to my last video. That's already being suggested, so thank you for that, hitting the like button on that and sharing it with your family and friends, and do the same thing with this live stream as well. The more people share this, the more it's going to get to a wider audience, and you know what? The YouTube recommendation system likes wider audiences, so help the YouTube algorithm out, and I'll do my best at providing the best information that I can. So this tropical wave is headed towards the Windward Islands in the next couple of days, and we did talk about that in yesterday's video. If we zoom in a little closer at this, so as you know, I'm starting to use Zoom Earth a little bit more. It's a very good application. I would highly recommend checking it out. Go to zoomearth.com to check out these images. These update every 10 minutes, and best of all time, you could actually loop them through. You can zoom in, so you can zoom in on your very location. And yeah, look at this tool that we even have. We could even measure an area as well, the circumference of a storm or a fire or a wildfire. And then you could even measure how far this storm or the disturbance is away from these islands. And I'll give you the readout here in a second. But here's a look at that disturbance. Once again, the system is tangled up. Okay, it's like, you tie your shoes and you have to untie, and it takes time to untie your shoes. That's basically what this system is doing right now. It's taking its own sweet time of untying its shoes, but once it unties its shoes, it's going to be on the loose, and it's going to enter the Caribbean, and then it could develop from there into a tropical storm, or if not, maybe even a hurricane. And some of you in my last video and also in my previous live streams saying, David, it's probably not going to become a hurricane. There's enough confidence to actually say that at least a low-end hurricane at the highest end of my intensity forecast that I'm going with this. Of course, I'm more generous than other people out there. But we can see, let me back this out. Sorry if I sound like I'm a pig when I don't try to cough, because I'll cough a lot of times and you guys won't like that. So we can see where our circulation is here. So we have westerly winds or easterly winds here, and we have northwesterly or northeasterly winds here, northerly, and then we have this kind of elongated area of vorticity. And the word vorticity is, in meteorological terms, means spin in the atmosphere. So the tighter the vorticity or vort max, the better chances you could have a system spin up, right? That's why larger systems don't spin up as fast than smaller systems. Reason why Barrel, I believe, really rapidly intensified more than what anyone thought because of how small that system was. Which, by the way, to predict intensity with smaller systems is actually more trickier than you can actually imagine. Actually predicting larger systems, larger hurricanes are actually more stable with their intensity forecast because they take a while to spin down, they take a while to spin up. All right, so that's kind of good and bad of each thing. So there is our system. It is headed towards these islands. And if you guys are wondering, how far is this from the islands, David? I've been waiting for that, right? Well, right now it is 116 miles away from Barbados. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it is 927 miles. St. Lucia, 912. Martinique, 919 miles out. If you're in Dominica, something like that. Someone corrected me in a couple of videos ago on how to pronounce it. You may say it differently than I do. I say it in more English England terms, in other words. And here, 951 miles out from Dominica. And then if you're in Guadeloupe, it's about 977 miles out. St. Kitts and Nevis and Antigua and Barbuda, they're right around 1,000 miles. So this is still a distance. So there is still time to get prepared. But gosh, you don't need a system like this to be on your back door. Look at this. In Trinidad and Tobago, you're getting quite a bit of rainfall. And if we actually go to live, does a live radar even work here? It doesn't work down here for some reason. But we could estimate on satellite there might be some rain underneath this these clouds. So if you're in Scarborough, there in Trinidad and Tobago, you're probably getting some thunderstorms. Hey, someone actually said in the Cayman Islands, there was some really strong winds today and enough actually to almost knock over a canopy there. So yeah, you don't even need a system in your back door to cause something to fall over out there. So yeah, keep in mind these storms could be a little intense at times. Dominican Republic getting some of that. But this is going to be on the loose. Right here, this area of disturbed weather is going like that. It's going into the Caribbean Sea, and we all know what can happen once it gets into the Caribbean Sea because everyone wants to know, is it going to turn that way? Is it going to go that way? Or is it going to turn this way? Or is it going to turn that way into Florida? We're going to break that all down in tonight's live stream. But in the meantime, here's a look at the National Hurricane Center, their latest outlook. And I'll tell you, 1 week ago today, I can go through the archives right now. If I actually can. No, I'm not going to click on that. Archive outlooks. So let me actually do that. I don't think... Yeah, earliest available. All right, so this... Oh, wow, wait. You could really go far back. I did not realize that. So let me see when we got our first disturbance, and I could just tell you what a week it has been in the tropics. So if we go back a little bit, yeah, right here. So one more. There we go. Yeah, so August 26th. So literally on Monday, okay, Monday afternoon, there was nothing out there. And then look at this. Incredible. 3 areas to watch to end the week. And guess what? It's only the 30th of August. That's my concern. Things could really perk up quickly in the Atlantic. Now, the question is, how in the heck do I get out of this page and go back to the home page? There we go. That's what I wanted. So we could do the rollovers, the rollover readouts, right? So as we look at each disturbance, yes, the area near Texas does have a 20% chance of tropical development in the next 7 days. And then, of course, in the Caribbean, that's the big eyebrows that we're all watching. Okay, big eyebrows staring down at that tropical wave there. Even so, it's not 50% like it was yesterday. Just because it says 40% does not mean that, oh, it's not, there's the chances are lower of development, but doesn't mean that it's not going to develop, because the 40% and Weather Minds, which is one of my friends that I follow on YouTube, actually broke down what these areas mean, and that's what I'm going to do in tonight's video. That's why I also saved these live streams for, and it's smoky outside. I just realized that, really smoky tonight outside. Incredible to see that. Sorry I got distracted, but yeah, the sun is actually red right now. More fires, okay? So what these orange areas, and yes, there's orange on the map too, so it makes all perfect sense. So this is kind of the area that the NHC is watching for potential development. It does not mean that there is going to be development in this area, but it's kind of the area, the kind of the zone that they're watching for something to spin up, like a tropical depression, storm, or hurricane. All right, but development can occur outside of this box. So maybe it waits until the northwestern Caribbean, or maybe it develops really soon. All right, so that's why once this wave right here enters this orange area, the NHC is going to be like, okay, we got to really start watching this wave. And then, of course, the third wave, now there is some concern about that. Some of the models have trended further west with this, but there's not much indication right now that this is going to come into the Caribbean for the time being. It's going to really be this code orange system, and also the one off of Texas, again, which we will talk about at the kind of towards the end of this live stream. So now, for those that are watching this live stream right now, your question to me is, what is this going to look like once it approaches the Windward Islands? Is this going to be a tropical depression, storm, or hurricane? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's not going to become a hurricane, and it's not going to become a tropical storm. Now, maybe a tropical storm just to the east or west of the islands, but I don't think right now, I don't see this going goo-goo-la-la, right? It's not going to go crazy, and it's going to be like a barrel situation, right? Instead, this is going to bring in a lot of discrete weather to the area, as in like showers, thunderstorms, that sort of thing. So when we go forward here, okay, and this save the streams for the best part here to explain this, this is not a closed surface low. All right, you can see your fetch of winds here from the south. Winds curl back to the east, and then they kind of do this. They kind of are easterly like this. So with that, this is a wave envelope. And usually a surface trough is dotted in line. That's why I always dot these. I kind of mimic those weather map news people that will show. Right here is an open wave, not a closed circulation. Until a closed circulation develops, you can't call this a tropical depression or storm. Even so, you do have winds equivalent to tropical depression force. All right, you're still going to get the rain. You're still going to get the impacts, but it's not like it's going to be a Cat 5 hurricane headed for Dominica or Martinique or Guadeloupe. Okay, this is an open wave on the Euro, and this is the 18Z run. I should use the 12Z because it's a complete run. There's something about me that I don't like looking at intermediate runs because, one, it kind of uses the same data from the 12Z output, and secondly, actually, they don't go as far out, so we can't look at what it could do in the Gulf. And the Euro, in its intermediate runs, only goes out to 90 hours and not a full 10 days. If that makes sense. So the 12Z here, now some of you are going to see, oh, it's closed, David, look at that. I don't really call this being closed. It really isn't. The fat side of the system, you can see your wind field right here, really well weighted, very asymmetrical. I mean, you could even argue there's probably no wind at all down here on the southern side, even if this did get to be warranted for a tropical depression. I mean, there wouldn't be wind, but there would be a lot of rain otherwise. And then this goes west of the islands and south of Puerto Rico in about 4 days. So Tuesday morning, the 3rd day of September, the day after Labor Day, and I hope you enjoy your Labor Day, folks, okay? I'm going to enjoy my Labor Day because I get double pay at work. I might get triple pay because we'll probably be doing more YouTube stuff, for sure, YouTube stuff on this tropical wave anyway. So yeah, how about that? Triple pay instead of double pay. So, but you can see here, the tropical depression still not closed here, and winds of only 32 miles an hour, or about roughly 30 when you average things out, and then that moves into the Central Caribbean. Now, what about the GFS? Okay, each model has their own way of forecasting, right? Just like maybe, let's just use you, DJ the Broke. You predict a Cat 5 hurricane, but I disagree with you, right? I can say, hey, DJ the Broke, it's not going to become a Cat 5, but you can say, oh, David, it is going to become a Cat 5 based on what I see. And then maybe Chase McLean says, oh, David, it's going to be just a tropical storm, right? So each model has their own way of forecasting. Isn't that cool? It's like looking at one individual person. So the Euro is like DJ the Broke. The GFS is like Chase McLean. And Brian, which just joined the stream, is the Canadian model. So each person has their own way. So let's look at one of those people right now, and let's go forward. The GFS, yes, still hanging on to that vorticity. Now, some of you are like, David, how's there vorticity? That's spin in the atmosphere. I'm not seeing spin. Well, spin could be extrapolated to relative wind velocity. So if you have faster wind moving here and slower wind moving here, you're actually getting a net value of vorticity. It's kind of like this. Think about the ground, right? So think about the ground is here. Wind is moving faster. So see how I curl my hand? So wind up here is moving faster than the wind at the surface. You're actually going to get vorticity, horizontal vorticity. In this case, because this is a tropical system, we're going to get more relative vorticity instead. And so that's what we have going on. So even so, there's no circulation here. If we actually go over and look at our 850 millibar flow chart, or our vorticity, there it is. There, it's wounded up right there. In some cases, this is fairly strong vorticity spin going over these islands. And that's why I like the vorticity product that these models offer, because you can't just look at wind at the surface and be like, David, this is not good. It's just trade winds. It's just enhanced, but there is energy. Energy could be used in bad ways in the tropics. You know, this could eventually turn into something big, which I'm about to show you here. So going down the line, it kind of gets stretched out a little bit. So on the GFS, nothing. But on the Euro, look at how different this is. Markedly different between these runs. And also the timing differences as well. So the Euro, Monday, late morning, early afternoon. If we go back here, probably about the same time. But let's now look at the Canadian model. Different way to forecast, right? And you can see that system much further south than the European model and the GFS model, and the Canadian much further south, with winds of about 20 to 30 miles an hour. But the question is, does this kind of tighten up? Well, looks like on the Canadian, it does try to do so, but because of the fast movement with this, that's going to kind of prevent this thing from wrapping up. And yeah, faster these systems go, they're not going to bundle up very tightly. However, in Beryl's case, remember Hurricane Beryl? Everyone remembers that in early July. The reason why I believe in my scientific research why Beryl rapidly intensified despite it moving 20 to almost 25 miles an hour is because of how concentrated, how compact that system was. In fact, the entire wind field with Beryl could literally engulf the entire island of, say, Dominica, while the other islands would not get hurricane force winds. That is how compact that hurricane was. And that's why it was able to spin up very intensely. Broader systems that move fast are not going to spin up as quickly. So in this case, this is not a broad system. It's not super broad, but it's not super compact. Which is, if it was compact, then we would be dealing with a much more significant situation, but I do not see that happening according to our model, so that is good. This is going to take its own sweet time of getting organized, similar to Ian when it hit Florida in 2022. So when we go forward, you can see they're 30-mile-an-hour winds. So right around a tropical depression, but in this case, it's not a tropical depression. It would just be an open wave. Now the icon model, now there have been a lot of people saying, oh, the icon is more accurate. It's been doing a good job. All right. I'm still conducting research on it, and I'm not quite there saying in my own personal research. Now, you guys could disagree with me all you want. Okay, but I believe the icon has a bit more work to do. I think it's doing extremely well, like the Euro. At least at this point, it's handling this system pretty well, I would think. Not too bad at all. In fact, probably a lot better than the GFS. The GFS, by the way, is a huge outlier. All these models do have a closed circulation or close to it when it passes over these islands. And speaking of that, so that's Monday morning, and this is over the islands by Monday night. So this is September the 2nd and the 3rd. So timing differences here, still some discrepancies amongst the timing and intensity here. And the icon is slowest. The Euro is fastest. The icon is slowest. And this goes right over Barbados, right here. And then moves over some of these islands down here like Grenada. And then just to kind of refresh my brain down here. Sorry, I don't know all my islands. I got to know that a little bit better. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is what we're looking at. You got all these islands and, you know, it's like a puzzle piece. Which island is what, right? I'm not going to get them all right 100%. And I'm sorry. That doesn't make me stupid, all right? But you can kind of, you can say which island is this, you know, and maybe without looking at the screen, you know. Don't worry. I know my islands here very well. I'm working on it. Here's Barbados right here. And here is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And here is Grenada. I think that I got that right. Did I? I don't think I did. Did I? St. Lucia. There we go. Okay, so it's St. Lucia. Maybe I should just kind of take an SAT test and test myself how good I can remember these islands. Okay, so that goes through these islands. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, getting 35-mile-an-hour winds perhaps, so that's pretty strong. And this is a closed circulation. So if the icon comes to pass, this would meet the definition of a tropical depression. It really would. There's enough thickness down here, a closed ISO bar probably to declare this as a closed surface low. Remember, a closed surface low, folks, is a depression, a tropical depression, and not a tropical wave. Okay, they're similar, but there are differences between that. You have to have persistent deep convection for, I think, more than 12 hours. You have to have that closed circulation. In this case, the icon is threatening that by Tuesday morning. So if you just look at one model, you can say, yeah, this is a tropical depression, but I'm not going to call that because based on our other models, there is more power in numbers versus one model. So this would probably not be a tropical depression at all once it moves over these islands, but it wouldn't matter. There will be rain, there will be flooding, potentially due to the heavy rainfall, due to orographic effects, and there will be some strong winds of perhaps 25 to 35 miles an hour. And hey, speaking of the rainfall forecast, you can see right here over these islands, over the 3 to 5 day time frame. I wish I could zoom in. Okay, I wish I can. I could only get to the Greater Antilles, which doesn't get to these islands. I don't know why Weather Bell does not have a selection for that. I wish they did, but they don't. So we have to use the Caribbean sector instead. But I'll tell you, Guadeloupe, if you're on St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you could see as much as maybe, this is in millimeters. Where is my inches? There we go. So you could see as much as maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain. That is about 30 to 50 millimeters of rainfall in that area. So that's quite a bit. That's going to do a little bit of a dose on the flood concerns. And yes, not really going to go and jump forward into our system off the Louisiana coast, but yeah, yikes, folks. The Euro going a little crazy on that system there. Possibly 6 inches, 5 to 6 inches on the European ensemble forecast. Now, as you know, I don't use one model because you're going to have extreme differences and discrepancies between one run to the next. So we always use the European or the Euro ensemble or the GEFS ensemble. Ensembles are my best friend. All right, say that in the chat, folks. Ensembles are your best friend. They are very important because, again, there was all this, how would you say it? All this shenanigans. Oh, we're going to have a Cat 5 in the Gulf, or we're going to have a Cat 1 in the Gulf. We have to look at our ensembles, and that will clear this all up in this live stream. I feel like in my video today, I breezed through everything a little too quickly, and I decided that I don't feel right on how I covered things in my last video today. Still go watch it, of course, but like I have to kind of feel like I gotta kind of show off my little expertise here, and that's what these live streams are for. So of course, over these islands, yes, you're gonna get rain and you're gonna get some swells as well, and we will show you that here in actually. Let's duplicate this and open that up. There we go. And we will go over into the Caribbean. So you're also going to get swells with this, actually, especially the greater, oh wait, is there a lesser Antilles sector? Please say there's not. Come on, Weather Bell. You can be a little bit better than that. But here's one, okay? So here are your islands right over here, okay? You're going to get surf maybe as high as 10 feet with this as this moves over the northern windward islands. So that's impacts. Don't go to the beaches. Be my guest if you want to go to the beaches, because it's probably not going to be pleasant. And also, you're going to see the rainfall and the gusty winds as well. No, this is not going to be a state of emergency for these islands. No, I'm not trying to say that. But what I'm trying to say is there will be impacts. Okay? Remember, you don't need a tropical depression. You don't. And I'm sorry if I look like I'm smiling at this, but people seem to think it's all about the talk. And I love what Mark Sedeth said. He broke it down in one of his videos that people, it's all about the hurricanes. It's all about Cat 5 hurricane hitting my area. Of course, a Cat 5 is going to produce more life-threatening concerns, but you got to think about this. A tropical depression brings impacts, and impacts are you, right? So if you live on these islands, take that into consideration. Oh, it's just a tropical wave, but what about the surf? What about the rainfall? What about the rain amounts? What about the risk of flooding, right? So you have to kind of look at the impacts and be like, okay, this is definitely, it's not the worst thing, but there will be impacts. So maybe instead of going to the beach on Labor Day, might want to wait until a couple of days later when the weather clears out. All right, so I hope I did really good at explaining things there. I hope I did, because that's what I'm here for. You know, I want to clear up people's confusion and brains on, oh, it's just a small storm doesn't mean don't ignore it, right? So now, what about when this now gets into the Caribbean? Everyone's asking. Now, we covered those islands. We'll get to questions at the end of the stream about those islands, okay? If I missed something, ask me it at the end of the stream when we get to our Q&A session. All right, so, oh my gosh, I look like Donald Trump right there. The way I just kind of moved my head. We'll get to Q&A questions. I could literally iterate his voice. He's my great guy. He really is. He's the best. He is the trooper of the United States. All right, nothing about politics now. We'll get away from that. But here is the Dominican Republic right here. Here is Puerto Rico. And then here is your Virgin and here's your British and U.S. Virgin Islands right there. So that kind of covers this sector. And I spy my little eye on Jamaica over here. Yeah, there's almost 2 million people that live on that little island. Well, it's not really little, but on this map, it looks a little small. And then, of course, over here is Cuba. And then here are the Turks and Caicoses down here. And here are the other Bahama Islands to its north. So pretty much you can see what we're looking at. And I just love how the Euro simulates the wind here. You know, you get these funneling of winds that come around right here. And you can see these are tall mountains. And that's why that's a graveyard for these systems. Okay. Thank you so much, PM. Yeah. So going forward here, what does this system do? Okay, so it's south of, say, the Dominican Republic, the Haitian Peninsula, and then look what happens on the Euro. It really gets close. And yeah, that is perhaps, maybe, just maybe a tropical depression once it gets over, perhaps, or close in proximity to Jamaica. All right, now some of you are probably going to be like, David, hello? Are you missing something? That's a tropical storm right there with 45-mile-an-hour winds. All right, I'm going to look at the overall structure of the system. All right, that's a very tight little microscopic area. And besides, tropical storm force winds are not over Jamaica, so this would probably be more like a tropical depression once it, if it is at this point. Again, if it is, will be important. And actually, I forgot one thing before we actually move on into the Gulf, is I wanted to kind of rewind here for a second. Now, based on that model, you could assume that, oh, it's going to be a tropical depression or storm once it gets into Jamaica. But here's something, and it kind of a wake-up call for a lot of you that are watching this. Okay, exactly what part of this system concentrates and how it all evolves. Remember, all of this right down here, can you all see that just fine here? This is the Central Atlantic main development region. This is kind of that grapevine. Think of these like little grapes kind of hanging off the vine, and which area congeals and consolidates. Okay, models are having a hard time on, okay, does this area over here consolidate? Does this area over here consolidate? Or does this area in the middle where we see the red consolidate? And that's kind of the big talk about why models are all over the place. All right, why, oh, the GFS is not seeing it. Because if we go to the GFS really quickly, at the same time frame, you can see that it thinks that, oh, maybe something is going to concentrate down here versus our Euro model has it a little further to the northeast. That little difference, folks, really makes a big difference. It really does down the road. That is why you call it the butterfly or the snowball effect. Little changes lead to big changes into the future. Remember, a model in numerical terms is a simulation of what the atmosphere might do into the future. So let's look at the Canadian also. Even the Canadian looks different. So if we are not seeing the same signal to begin with on our initialization at 0Z, again, that's today, on the Canadian, and on the GFS looks even different, and the Euro, then expect uncertainties even in the next 3 or 4 days. Just simply to put it, until something consolidates. And once it does, how will this all back in here illustrate, or how will it impact our little wave down here? That's the thing here. If this could stay robust and fight off anything, then this could really develop in a hurry. All right, and you could actually see that right there. In fact, it looks a little bit more robust here, even before it reaches the islands on our vorticity plot. And that is, that is why I love using the vorticity models to give us a better idea what might happen. So in simple way, let's go and look at the 0Z last night. Where did our system go? It's not even over Jamaica, right? But wait a second, it is. And when we look at our 18Z run, well, actually our 18Z is over here with that Vort Max. You can see already it may look like, oh, it's not going to develop as much, David. Well, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. Okay, that's the 18Z run, by the way. That's an intermediate run. Let's see and wait what our 0Z model run, or our 0Z output from the Euro shows tonight, which I won't be up for that. I will be sleeping because I have a 9-hour workday tomorrow, and I don't want to be a zombie at work. Who wants me to be a zombie at work? Probably none of you, right? Maybe it's you that comes and shops and I see you there, right? So you don't want me to act all finicky, right? But that model will be out by about 10:45 or 11 o'clock tonight, Pacific Daylight Time. You guys will be long in bed. Maybe some of you won't, you know. So that's a look at the 18Z Euro, but looking at the 12Z, you can see how different it looks. So now, everybody, all right, everybody, gather up, and listen closely, because you're going to see models that are going out of control in the Gulf, all right, in the Gulf, and guess what? It's 10 days out, okay? So let's take a look at this, and that's kind of why I wanted to go live tonight, to kind of really get into deeper detail on what this all means, instead of just kind of breezing through my videos, right? I try to keep my videos 18 to 25 minutes long, because if they get too long, then people are like, oh, you're going on and on and on and jibber, jabber, jabber, right? I got to get to the point. Right? And that's, I like to keep them generally under 25 minutes. I'm working on keeping them even under 20 minutes, in fact, and saving the best for these live streams. So out to 6 days, 168 hours is 7 days. So this is Friday morning, September the 6th. All right. And you can see here on this model, on the 12Z run of the the Euro, this would be a tropical storm. It has enough wind field to support that. So this would be a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm. And then you can see once this gets into the Yucatan, yeah, the little tip there, this could end up being a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. But remember, where this forms, when it consolidates, where it consolidates, really matters who and where the launching point will be. Does this go way? I've seen some runs, folks, that this goes all the way down into the Bay of Campeche and it misses Texas entirely. Actually, on some of the models prior to this live stream, we're not even showing any strong winds at all over Texas. How is that? Versus right now, our recent runs showing something big maybe coming, and maybe this still heads for Florida. That is still a possibility. We're not done seeing shifts to the east or shifts to the west. And in fact, when I show you the European ensemble track forecast, all these different tracks that do this, you're going to see a huge envelope splitting out like a cone, right? So going forward, all right, this is the deterministic Euro model showing a formidable tropical storm with winds of about 60 to 70 miles an hour. All right, now this is one model, because if we look at our 0Z run, where is it? Let me ask you that question. Where is it? I don't know, David. It's down there in the Playa del Carmen area, in Cozumel, in, say, near Belize, in the Yucatan, right? But, oh, wait, never mind. The 12Z has it. What if our 0Z backs off? Okay, we have to get a coherence with circulation. We got to get a close low. The model sees, okay, with its numerical format, needs to see these systems before, we jump to conclusions. Now, of course, I might be going a little over the top with my thumbnails and titles, but after you click on my videos, actually watch the video and notice how I don't overdo things, right? All right. Remember, I kind of talked about this. Maybe other YouTubers will talk to you about this. It's, thumbnails are there for a reason. I'm not going to do a whole dissection of what a thumbnail is. Why does it need to be all bright and colory, right? You can actually go onto YouTube after this live stream and be like, why are thumbnails clickbaity, right? And you can learn some more information. All right, so that's that. And now I'm not calling out anyone here. I don't want to be like that, but some people on Twitter, on social media, I'm just going to say social media, people like to use the control run of the Euro. I would really highly advise you to not rely on the control run. It is not a deterministic forecast. It is not a solidified forecast. Okay? Can you guys acknowledge that in the chat? Please, in the chat. Okay? Because I'm going to show it to you in this live stream because, of course, it's showing something big, but we're going to take it extra conservative with this type of run, okay? Because a control run is with the ensemble, okay? It doesn't say up here deterministic. Actually, wait. Right up here, let me box this in. So right up here, see that little C that I boxed in? If you guys can't see that, I will point arrows to it. Always annotating this makes it easier. So where it says C after the ensemble right here means it's a control run. It is not a deterministic forecast. When you hear like the Weather Channel saying, oh, we could have a tropical storm or hurricane this coming week, they're looking at ensembles and they're looking at some deterministic forecasts. Okay, I'm not going to say who's using it out there, but I've seen it for myself on Twitter that people are looking beyond the 10-day forecast on the Euro deterministic forecast and saying, oh, the Euro is showing a major hurricane in the Gulf. But when I go back and look at the deterministic forecast, what do you mean it's showing a major hurricane? Like, what's going on? It's not showing a major hurricane. Because I'm going to look at the control and I'm going to be like, yeah, that's the control run, whatever. I'm not going to put sense into it because it's not used for deterministic forecasting, okay? Even so it's part of an ensemble, it's not to be relied on, okay? Just, you got to look at the blend, an average of everything. That's more like it, okay? Because you could already see, okay, and I'm going to actually open up another tab here. Boy, I have a lot of tabs open. I'm only a quarter way into this session. Can you believe it? So if we go back and look at our 12Z run, okay, and let's see if you can spot the difference. Okay, here is a deterministic forecast, and I'm going to circle this in a little bit. Okay, the deterministic forecast, and look at your control run. Look at that control run. Ah, wait, I thought it was a deterministic forecast, David. That's because it's not a deterministic forecast. Okay, that you can't just solely rely on that. Because I know people are going to cherry pick and be like, oh my gosh, the control run is showing a 140 mile an hour hurricane hitting the Big Bend of Florida. But yet, when I go back in there and look at the deterministic forecast, 10 days is better to forecast than looking out literally 14 days. I mean, come on. I mean, this hitting the Big Bend of Florida on the 11th, the 10th or the 11th of September is like predicting to win $1 billion about 7 days from now. I can tell you guys, are you guys going to win $1 billion in 7 days from now? You'll be like, I don't know, David. What are my chances winning the lottery or winning something, right? So that's kind of what I'm trying to tell you here is that, I mean, this is just as wild. I mean, look at the last run. I mean, come on, look at over here. The control run was way down here, and now look at this. Oh, oopsie, it's over here now. Look at that difference. I mean, if we go back and look at the map, over these two areas, right? That's kind of that whole area. Let's measure that. That is 1,000 miles spread from run to run. Right? 1,000 miles. So that is why I don't use control runs in my videos. I'm not saying you're wrong or anyone's wrong. I don't want to call out people. You have your way of forecasting, but use it with extra caution. And in other words, put more conservative money into a control run because it's not a deterministic forecast. It really isn't. Okay, so that run specifically shows a major hurricane hitting the Big Bend. So I'm going to look at one run and I'm going to be like, is that really going to happen? Is that really going to happen? Well, let's take a look at the GFS, right? Then I'm going to look at the GFS model. Actually, let me take that off, right? Oops, did I? Oh my goodness, I closed out. No, I didn't. Maybe I didn't close out. So I'm going to look at the GFS, okay? So let's go over to that. And let's see what the GFS has to tell us, right? So the GFS is over here, but wait, the control run is still over here. So that tells me already the control run is maybe onto something, but I'm going to go with the majority, okay, with these models. And so the GFS and the Euro, actually the GFS is a little slower than the Euro is because, again, we talked about how it's a little faster, right? So, again, the Euro's over here. The GFS is down here at 18Z. So, now, once this gets into the Gulf, will it become a hurricane? Now, of course, I could say, yes, it will become a hurricane, and it will become a major hurricane. This is not good. This is going to become a Cat 4 hurricane or a Cat 5. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it's going to become a strong tropical storm or a low-grade hurricane because, remember, I want you all to type in the chat, what hour is this? What hour are we on? What is the date? What is the time that we're on here? I'm going to give you guys a little quiz. How about that? I love quizzes. I like to just kind of quiz people in the live stream. You kind of have to learn on my videos, right? So that's why I do this. So what hour are we out on this model? We're about 13 days out. This is pretty far out into the future. This is not a set in stone forecast. This isn't. And I know people are like, how come it's not, David? Because the atmosphere is that complicated. And I will show you why it's complicated here in a little bit. But yes, if you just laser eye and literally be biased off of one run, yes, Houston is done with this hurricane. Your guys are getting literally destroyed by hurricane force winds. It's game over for Texas. But wait, what about the 12Z run? Duh! It's not even there. It's not even there. Literally, it's not even there. Because it's over here. So, wow, what a difference, right? Our 12Z run has it hitting the Big Bend or near the Big Bend of Florida in about 10 days, roughly 10 and a half days. But guess what? The 18Z run, way over here and a lot slower. So when it does hit Texas, or if it does, it's September the 12th. So take this with a grain of salt. Ensembles, trends, and signals. Okay? Ensembles, and I'll even type it up here in the chat. Okay? So let me type this up. Ensembles, trends, signals. Okay? Name the three, get the three. Ensembles, trends, signals is what you need to look at first before going off one run. I mean, I actually like how people do that. Like, oh my gosh, Cat 5 hurricane hitting my area. That's not good. That's not good. Oh, we better evacuate. No. because it's too far out. To be quite honest, and I'll be speaking from my heart on this, a weather forecast is not accurate beyond 5 days out, which is why the NHC only goes out to about 5 to 7 days with their graphical outlook, and they only go out to 5 days with their cone of uncertainty, right? Because weather is honestly, in my opinion, very complicated. Think about the image that you're looking at here on your screen. What you're looking at on the model is ones and zeros. It's numerical, global, computer model language. Yes, it actually is. It is. It's freaking cool that we could actually use ones and zeros to predict the weather. Pretty cool, isn't it? But sometimes people get carried away when those ones and zeros go a little on the aggressive side. So that's the GFS, all right? And in simple terms, the GFS is here, the euro is over here. What about our friendly Canadian model? Who wants to know what the Canadian is showing, right? Let's go over to that into 10 days. Whoops! What you're doing over there? Hiding in the corner, right? GFS over here, euro right over here. So you can see, oops, and I missed it by a little bit, but that's fine. So you can see these three models are not even seeing the system at the same time. That's why we use different models, because if every model was exactly like the euro, then that would be a very, very, very unusually high forecast 10 days out. And then we would have a bit more of a scary problem on our hands than just simply looking at different models, different solutions. So, now that I digest that out of the way about how to read a model at this point, is basically be careful with the control, rely on the ensembles and the deterministic. The deterministic is only good out to about 3 days or so, maybe 4 days, and your ensembles are good literally out to about 7 or so days into the future. And even those, the guidance spreads out. Now, the wave forecast is dependent on our storm as well. So this wave forecast runs in unison with our European deterministic forecast. This is the wave watch 10-degree forecast, and we can see, yeah, there's going to be some big swells out there if this actually develops. You can see wave heights here in the Gulf of Mexico, 18 to maybe 25 or even 30 feet. That is pretty big, but guess what? Just like I told you, it's based on one model run. The last model didn't even have it. The 12Z barely had it over here with some surf, and even the 0Z had it way over here. Way over here. Boy, that would have been a pretty big system if it were going to go up the eastern seaboard of Florida. But on this run, it is definitely into the Gulf, obviously. And we got to watch this. We really do. Am I concerned? No. Even so, my thumbnail might say, not good at all. Well, of course, when we have a signal in the Gulf, then we got to watch it, right? But am I concerned? Should you all evacuate just because I showed you a major hurricane in your area? Not right now. Again, emphasizing, not right now. 3 syllables, okay? I will let you know when it's time, all right? And until it's time, there's nothing to worry about. Other than maybe some rain, maybe some flood concerns down here along the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana, thanks to that idiotic disturbance. Idiotic disturbance. Why do you have to be there? But otherwise, don't think that Labor Day is ruined for you all. Enjoy your Labor Day when it comes this Monday, okay? So, now, what is getting in the way of this system? All right, so now the next thing, oops, there we go. So the next thing I like to look at is the moisture quality good? Is the wind shear looking good? Right? So we're going to kind of digest that. And then actually we're going to be looking at our ensembles here shortly after our spaghetti plots. All right, who likes spaghetti in the chat? Raise your hand, right? So going forward here, this is the deep layer moisture plot. I try to do the best I can at explaining this in my videos, but this is basically in the deep layers of the atmosphere. So this is 10,000 feet all the way up to about, say, 32, 34,000 feet, right? So this is a very important layer because this is the deep layer. Don't rely on the 500 millibar moisture plot because it's only one singular layer. One single layer. That's not going to give you a whole skeleton X-ray look image at the rest of the atmosphere. So this is why I like this. Tropical Tidbits does a really good job at plotting this, and this is for free. All you have to go is to tropicaltidbits.com, Dr. Levi Cowan's website. I always cite his website in my videos for a reason because this is a really good website to use. And you can see the deep layer moisture plot here. Oops, already getting carried away. On the GFS model, there is definitely a lot of moisture on this. There is a lot. There is some drier air to the north, but that's not being shoved in to the system because we don't have a whole lot of westerly shear or northerly shear on the system, right? That dry air could stay where it's at as long as there is no wind shear over the system. Now, going forward in time, we can see that the system does try. Now, there is a little hint of some northerly shear or northerly flow impinging on the system, which is why the GFS is not showing significant development on the system right away. And I think that's probably more said than done. I don't think this is ready to go. It's not like a spring ready to get unloaded. I don't think it's going to become a Cat 5 once it approaches the Central Caribbean. Now, I may be wrong, but based on the signal, the models, the ensembles, I'm not seeing that. However, the Northwestern Caribbean needs to be on guard on this, needs to be on the lookout because things could get a little dicey at the end of the run. And you can see why. So some shear on this, and then it wraps all of its moisture around. And once this leaves the Yucatan, again, emphasizing based on our 18Z model run, this could go. It's kind of like a rubber band. And I really like Mark Sedeth's illustration and analogy. You know, that rubber band is ready to snap, and boy, it's going to hit you right back in the eye. And it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt if it has to kind of get flung back into your face, right? It's not going to end really well. And that's what this model shows. So we start off at 991 millibars, so the pressure value is in red. And look at this. This really deepens. Why? Because there's no wind shear. And look at all of this moisture packed within this system. Lots of deep layer moisture. Environmental conditions on this particular run. Again, if this actually comes to fruition, this would be a very volatile, pristine environment, which we could have very intense, unfortunate outcomes with systems like this. And I'm not joking around when I say that, because I've done this before in the past. I've studied this stuff. When you have a lot of moisture, a lot of latent heat release off the Gulf. Again, the Gulf is about 30, 31 Celsius right now, so we're in the mid to upper 80s, and you get a pretty good atmosphere aloft that allows this. This could take off. This could really blow its fuse very quickly, and that's why we really got to watch model trends. Again, not basing it off of one. But look how strong this gets. This is a 932 millibar system, and the GFS is not high resolution when it comes to this. You need to look at your hurricane models, which is why that's the sole purpose to render these hurricane models, because of that. Because we could actually are able to get a better view of how strong, what's the air pressure looking like, how tight packed those isobars are. And so along the Texas coast, this is, that's a 929 millibar system. Let me get my face out of the way here so I can actually show you all a little bit more clearer without my distraction. Yeah, this is a very, very strong system. Okay, now it's it doesn't need to get that strong. It really doesn't. But if the model trends continue, then we've got a problem. All right. Lots of moisture. And look at this. Very importantly, I mean, you're not even getting tropical storm force winds. And the moisture plot here also helps a lot to look at where our moisture is going to be. The darker the blue colors, the teal colors, the more moisture you have. And essentially, this is 100% saturation. So if I took an average box sounding over here, you would see that it is, oops, let me zoom out a little bit. You would see it is very moist in the deep layers of the atmosphere. This is a very saturated sounding, and look at the environmental moisture on this, 97%. That is very moist. All right. And why is that important, you may ask? Well, have you ever heard of the term that every tropical storm behaves differently? Well, this is one of those tropical systems that might behave really differently. For one thing, it has a lot of moisture well out ahead of it. So if I go to our moisture plot, yeah, there's rain. Look at this. There is rain occurring well out ahead of that system. So you can see and think about that the rain is going to continue to fall in a given area for a long period of time. Okay, even so, you may not see tropical storm force winds theoretically on this model until Wednesday early afternoon. Okay, but look at the rain, the moisture fetch. This is a very wet system. This is not dry at all. And if I actually go over, zoom out, and look at our P-watt anomaly, look at that. All those green colors indicate a lot of moisture is in the atmosphere. So this is a very wet variety of a system. Some hurricanes, I call them dry canes. You know why I call them dry canes? Because if it's an annular hurricane, it has very limited moisture around the system. So you only experience the heaviest winds and the rain within the eye wall itself. This is not a annular hurricane. This is a very wet hurricane instead. So if this comes to pass, of course, on this model, this would be a very big deal. Very big deal. All right. And if we look at the rainfall totals on that, you can see why. I mean, look at some of the coast here of Texas, starting off at 2 inches of rainfall, and then you end up getting maybe 30 plus inches of rainfall. That's a big deal. Even so this system doesn't stall at all, at least for right now, this would be a very big deal. This would be making news headlines. Everyone on YouTube would be talking about it. But guess what? The good news is this is very far out, and I'm not worried about it. I really am not, but it is definitely worth watching. It really is. And I will be honest with you. I'm not going to hide things from you all. This is worth watching. And we will have to wait and see with what each model run actually shows. And speaking of model run, I think, okay, our 0Z model run, okay, it doesn't start rendering until 8:37, 47 seconds precisely. That's when the next model run will come in. So that's that. Wow, I'm taking my own sweet time. So now that we looked at the moisture plot, there's other tools we could actually look at, right? Isn't that cool? We could look at different layers and different things on the models, right? We're looking at the cyclonic PV streamer forecast. Now, I'm getting to know this a little bit, okay, with my research that I'm conducting here, but these blue colors are negative vorticity values. This is anticyclonic flow, okay, in the upper troposphere. This is really high up, 200 millibars above sea level, right? So where planes fly. So what I'm looking for here on this particular model is a couple of things. Are we seeing any TUTs, right? TUT stands for tropical upper level tropospheric trough. Say that with me. Tropical upper level tropospheric trough. Okay, it's where you get these cutoff flows, right? They cut off from the jet stream, they retrograde, they actually do. You can look it up. These split off from the jet stream, they go south, then they actually retrograde in the deeper tropics, and they could shear systems. They could advect drier air into lower levels of the atmosphere. That's not why we have not had a lot of named storms in late August. It's because of all that dry air coming off of Africa, and that's because of the Saharan dust, right? So now what is, and this right here is the vorticity plot. So these brown or these purple lines indicate how much spin there is. So I hope you guys are following me on that, right? So going forward here, we can see the environment is kind of anemic. It is not particularly extremely favorable in the eastern and central Caribbean, but watch what happens, because we do have northerly flow on top of this system. So this is going to be more of a northwesterly shear hitting the system at this given time. But watch what happens. Once this system tries to develop some outflow, especially once it gets into the northeastern portion of the Caribbean, then this outflow is actually going to possibly allow the system to radiate all that upper level outflow and lower pressures and knock the shear down a lot. And here's a little bit of a tut cell back in here. You can see it kind of curling up. That's a tut. And here's a little bit of a tut cell right here. And so, but that flow, relative flow underneath the system will actually be more out of the southerly direction. So this is actually a fairly light shear environment. And really, once it gets into the Gulf, look at this outflow. This really expands outward in many quadrants, in all quadrants perhaps. And this is a signal of a very conducive environment. When you hear the NHC say the upper level pattern looks to be very conducive, as in there's no troughs to kind of shred storms apart. We have enough upper ocean heat content. The thermodynamic profile generally favors that, right? And so in this case, it generally favors this system if it exists here as an entity on the model. And this would be very, very formidable outflow. I mean, these colors right here are dark blue. That's way down here. That is really, really strong outflow in the upper troposphere. And you can even see this bubble. Kind of think of this as a big bubble, like a balloon of higher pressure air. And it's kind of in the middle of that. So this is a very low sheared environment. Pretty formidable to see that. All right. So we have to really watch how this is going to impact the surrounding atmosphere. If this turns into Florida or if this kind of goes up to the north remains to be seen. But in general, right now in general, this area right in here, I have boxed in, and I'm going to kind of do it like that. This whole area in the Gulf looks to be pretty favorable. I'm looking at some of the upper level model past data as well. It looks generally favorable, probably almost like a Laura situation or even a Michael situation. Not saying that just because I said that doesn't mean we will get a Laura or a Michael, but the upper level background environment looks to be conducive. Simply conducive, at least over the next, say, 7 or so days. All right, but this, of course, will change with each model run. Like, look at the last run from 12Z. You can see this anticyclonic flow different, and you got a tut right here. You can see that red. That indicates a lot of positive vorticity advection, and that is that shear coming over the system. But as long as the system is actually moving with the shear vector, there is relative light shear here even. All right, so now to the wind shear forecast. How does this system thrive? So you can see right, oops, come on, cooperate with me. Hold on. So right here, now even so it's not indicated here, there is a bit of northwesterly vector shear over the system. So that's why this system struggles a little bit. Also, maybe a touch of dry air coming into the system, and then watch what happens. It really gets into this good environment. The shear vectors are out. There's pretty much a lot of outflow here. So this indicates that the shear is going to be very light in general. If anything, there might be a touch of northwesterly shear of about maybe 10 or so knots, but nothing to probably prevent this thing from blowing up in the Gulf. And then you can see here, the shear is very light. Now, you're seeing a lot of this ribbon of red here to the northwest of this system. That is actually outflow. That's hurricane outflow type shear vectors radiating out from the system. So that is a pretty conducive environment, to say the least. This is a very low sheared environment overall on this particular model. And yes, this is bear watching. So that's a look at the shear forecast. Again, you can look at these maps for yourself on Tropical Tidbits. But now that we talked about intensity, so based on what we talked about so far, I do see this becoming a tropical storm and maybe a low-grade Category 1 hurricane with winds of 75 miles an hour. Okay, maybe a major hurricane. That is not off the table. That is not off the table at all whatsoever. All right, now you guys can say that I hyped up something a little bit, but I'm not saying, oh, there will be a Cat 5. Believe me, there will be a Cat 5. No, I'm not like that type of person. So now the steering of this system. Now we're going to talk about where is this system going to go? Why is it going to go into the Gulf? What's the reasoning behind that? Should this actually turn to the northwest like Ernesto did? No, because the pattern is different than what Ernesto was dealing with. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the 500 millibar geopotential height forecast. So this is our steering flow at 18,000 feet. And so what we have right here is a ridge of high pressure to the north of the system. That's why this system is not going to turn that way anymore. The solutions of that occurring are off the table. Instead, we're now going to see this move generally west-northwestward towards Jamaica and possibly just to the south of there because of where this ridge is. Now, you guys are thinking that, oh, there's a big break out here in the ridge. The pattern evolves differently, okay? The pattern constantly changes. And so as we go forward in time, we can see that the system does try to move north. At least some of its upper level energy does try to get through and puncture this ridge a little bit. But what ends up happening is this trough on the far right side, upper right side of the screen leaves, and that allows a ridge out here off the side of the screen. I know I'm drawing way outside of the viewing point of you all, but that ridge could retrograde, and you'll see that here. Watch this. Just pay attention. You can see that ridge now is building right here, 591 decameter ridge. Again, this is a geopotential height. This is a topographical map. Thicknesses in the atmosphere. Higher heights mean stronger ridging. Lower heights mean unsettled weather or troughs in the atmosphere. So we can see here is a trough over here in the Midwest, the smiley face look to those heights. And then we got another little trough impinging on the northwestern side of that ridge over the central Atlantic. But what ends up happening is this ridge does continue to retrograde, and look what happens. The system actually gets, the ridge pushes on this system a little bit. And you end up with the system actually headed towards Texas on this run, because now the GFS sees that, oh, the ridge is going to be over here. But if we look at the previous model run, the ridge is different. So you can see differences with the ridge and the timing of this. That's why nothing is set in stone, because maybe this ridge is a little weaker and a little smaller, and maybe there's troughing traffic, door slammed, up here in the Midwest that sets the edge. There's a break, there's an alleyway for this to escape. And does it kind of escape a little sooner to the north and hit Florida? Or does it actually escape and go right over here and maybe to the north? Or does it go later and then maybe end up in the western Gulf of Mexico? Now, some of you are saying, will this go directly west and actually die out over here? I do not see that happening. There is no model signal or anything on the table of that happening, and there will be some latitude gain with this. Now, based on what I said, that can change based on our ridge retrogression that happens. Everything here is complicated with the modeling, and we just don't know. Each run is different. Based on this ridge, you can see even on the 06Z run, look at where this ridge was. And the system on this run was able to actually turn towards Louisiana. And its launching point was a little further to the south. But because this trough is here a little further south, there's a little weakness, a little more of a break. This is able to turn north a little sooner. Think of a weakness in the ridge like a magnet. These troughs are like magnets for these systems, right? So the weaker the breakness is, the system's not going to be able to feel that as much. The stronger the weakness, then the system's able to kind of turn north without much effort. So that's a look at that. So a lot of complications, a lot of wrinkles to work out in the deterministic field on this system. And that's why this is not a set in stone deal. It really isn't. And we may not know until this becomes coherent and it actually closes off. In fact, we may not even know much about this until it reaches Jamaica, perhaps. It could be even until the Northwestern Caribbean. All right. And just because I say I don't know, doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, ask a meteorologist, where is this going to go once it gets into the Gulf? It will say, I don't know, but based on our models, we can give you this idea. And that's what the ensemble forecast here is. So to the favorite part of this live stream is the spaghetti plot. Everyone likes spaghetti, I'm sure. I love spaghetti. I like to go to Olive Garden and order their spaghetti with some Parmesan cheese, maybe some meatballs, maybe some basil on top, some of that good flavoring, right? Here's a look at the food on the desk, right? So as we go forward, this is snapshots. So this is in the next 24 hours. Remember, where this develops, where that exact center is will be important, and that's why we have ensembles. Think of an ensemble here as 51 different models, 51 different members that run the ensemble. So you're basically rerunning the deterministic Euro 51 different times, and each time it's ran through, the atmosphere is tweaked just a little bit, all right? And you get your different scenarios, if that makes sense. That's why we look at this stuff. All right, so I know a lot of information, and I'm only halfway through. So day 1, this is day 2, day 3, day 4. All right, so in 4 days, theoretically, this can go as far south as, say, Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe St. Lucia, maybe St. Vincent and the Grenadines down here. Or it might just go as far north as, say, the Butterfly Island, such as Guadeloupe. All right, so you can see the spaghetti plot here, and look at where it's initializing. Okay, differences. All right, let's go forward to day 5, day 6, day 7. So if we go to day 7, look at this. It's kind of splits. This is kind of one of those situations. Theoretically, this can go all the way this way, and it could hit, theoretically, maybe the Bahamas. Or this could actually go back west and maybe hit somewhere down here in Cozumel, as well as maybe Belize. Right? So there's your uncertainty. Now these different colors, I know they're pretty for a lot of those that are watching, and you're like, oh, those are pretty colors. This is not the time to say those are pretty, because what you're looking at is some of the members here indicating hurricane intensities. Right, there's one member here, that's a 951. That is a 951, my goodness. 946 millibar system. 928 millibars, that's really, really low. All right, but again, one member. Let's not assume one member is right the whole time. Okay. So that's day 7, day 8, day 9, and then day 10. This goes only out to day 10, and we can see, look at the spread. Look at the spread. This could theoretically go further west right here. Probably not going to happen. So in general, most of the model guidance is kind of right in here. This is where we have most of our model guidance. So I kind of painted the cone of uncertainty. Okay, actually, let me kind of highlight that a little bit more clearly so you all can actually kind of follow along. I like to make these very detailed. So right there, that's basically your cone of uncertainty. Look at the 10-day forecast. It's either in the southern portion of the Gulf, like the Bay of Campeche or Campeche, or, well, simply north of the Bahamas. How about that? How about that? So yes, I can theoretically, I have rights to say this could theoretically still hit Florida. Okay, this could still hit, say, Great Albacoa in the Bahamas. Or this could theoretically go straight in and barrel right into the Gulf and really explode. But I'll tell you what. And I'm going to be serious with this. And yes, fear-mongering, I'm panicking people. This is concerning. All these tracks, all these red and pink tracks over here, especially after Jamaica. Okay, and I'm going to really highlight that with a big old fat thick black pen. Really after Jamaica, right here in this zone, really needs to be watched. Really needs to be, because this could go deja vu. This could get ugly very quickly based on most of the members picking up a major hurricane here. These pink tracks indicate 100 knot winds. 100 knot winds. Now, what I just said is most of them are picking it up. Does that mean there will be a major hurricane in the Gulf? I will simply say, who knows? We will wait until we get to day 4 and day 5 in this forecast, and then we will make a judgmental decision and say, you guys need to get prepared right now. A major hurricane is going to enter the Gulf. Okay, but yes, very important. This shows intensity and track forecast from weathernerds.org. You can go check out their website. Very good website to see that, okay? So now, another cool thing I can do here. Let's go over to the Euro. And let's go to the 0Z from last night, because the 0Z is not out yet. And look at the difference. So I'm going to highlight this whole area right in here, and I'm going to zoom in. You can see there was not as many hurricane or major hurricane members on this over this area. Now, if we look at this run, actually, let me save that image and then move it back over here. So you can see this is the 0Z from last night, and this is this morning's run. We'll get the 0Z in tonight right around 12:30 in the morning my time. That will be 3:40, 3:45 in the morning Eastern time. I will not be up for that, so you don't need to worry about me posting something on that. But I might do a video in the morning on this, actually, depending on, probably going to try to squeeze something in. But look at this. What do you see? I want to see if you guys could pick that out here on the ensemble. What do you guys see different about this run versus this last night's run? I want to ask you guys that question. Major shift, right? Yeah, major shift to the west. But what else? I know what I'm seeing, but I want to see if you guys can pick that up. All right. Yeah, more models track more west. Yeah. So more ensembles, okay? Stronger storms and more in the Gulf. Exactly. So what does this tell us as a forecaster, right? So if we're seeing more members catching on to this, this is like, oh, okay, so our member count has gone up, So maybe all 51 viewers in the chat here are saying this is going to become a tropical storm or a hurricane, right? This is important. Does this trend continue? Does it go up, or does it stay the same, or does it drop? We will not know until I get up in the morning and I probably end up making a video. Yes, I will make a video if I have to, if the models continue to do this. If they continue to trend up and we get more data, I will get up at 6 in the morning, and you bet I'll be making a video on this. So on the 18Z GEFS ensemble, remember our deterministic is not rendering right now. We have another 10 minutes of that. But we can see the GEFS. I don't really like looking at the GEFS ensemble because it's still, it literally thinks this thing is going to go that way and then back that way. I mean, come on. Like, look at the difference. Just, it doesn't even show hardly anything in the Gulf. Not that there won't be or will be in the Gulf, but I mean, that's just kind of a mess. It really is a mess. That's why in my videos, I'm going to look more at the European ensemble EPS, because it has 151 members, including the control run. And secondly, it's more consistent between each run. So if you guys complain that, hey, why do you not show us a GEFS ensemble? Because you're wanting the worst case scenario, David? No, it's not what I'm here for. But consistency and more members, the more members you have, well, you're going to get a more kind of picture of what might happen. Okay, now on from that, I promise you guys I'm like 90% into this discussion. I did tell you guys this was going to be a long one tonight, because to kind of really kind of digest, kind of vent out a lot of my discussion on this for you all, okay? The upper ocean heat content is very high. We're not going to go into much detail on this. You know, upper ocean heat content is how much heat is being stored in the oceans, right? How much latent heat energy from the sun is being trapped in these waters. So the darker red colors indicate very high upper ocean heat content, and the bluer colors indicate lower upper ocean heat content. So in other words, in simple words, there's a lot of gas out here in the Caribbean. Lots of gas ready to go in the Gulf of Mexico for this wave. So if the wave, like I said, does this and it goes into the Gulf, boy, oh boy, it's not going to end well. It really isn't. This could really, really surprise us in a really bad sense. Okay, that's upper ocean heat content. Sea surface temperatures, definitely warm out there in the Gulf of Mexico, running about 85 to 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Even some of these down here, even 88 degrees Fahrenheit. That is warm. That is warm down there in the southwestern and western Gulf. And even the eastern Gulf here is really warm, but not as warm, but still in the 80s and enough to support intense hurricanes in the Gulf. Sea surface temperature anomalies are definitely above average, for sure. That is no surprise. With light winds, not much stirring around with the Gulf, water temperatures remain extremely warm and untapped, ready for our next tropical wave. Last but not least on this, before we get to questions, stay around for questions because I will answer your questions. Here's a look at the potential minimum central pressure. Now, again, what you're seeing here does not mean that, oh my gosh, a major Cat 5 going to happen in the Gulf. Okay, I really shouldn't be sharing this with you all. Actually, I don't think I should. I really shouldn't. All you need to know is waters are warm enough in the Gulf, in the Caribbean, for intense hurricanes. Perhaps intense hurricanes for the month of September. And here's a look at the maximum wind potential here. Potential doesn't mean it will happen. All right, means it may happen based on conditions. All right, definitely favorable. We already know that. It's Gulf, Caribbean, Atlantic, really on fire. The warmest Gulf, Caribbean that we've had perhaps ever on record. All right, so time for questions. Anybody that needs to ask questions. If you want me to look at the Gulf storm, we can do that briefly if you guys really want me to. Well, we're going to open up to the Q&A here for about 30 minutes or until we don't have enough questions coming in into the stream. By the way, if you did like tonight's discussion, you might as well subscribe. You have to subscribe to the YouTube channel because, boy, if I did not enjoy what I did, I would not be going into that much detail. I'm sure your brains are twisted inside out because you probably don't even know what vorticity actually means after I just broke everything down into a long monologue story. Can we talk about the Gulf storm? I kind of thought that would be the first question that came around to someone's mind. So let's go to that. Hold on for questions really, really quickly. So our Gulf storm right now, really not much convection going on with it right now. In fact, if we actually go over to our radar, questions are on hold because again, I'm not looking at chat right now. I'm looking at the screen. But I did answer I'm in the process of answering someone's questions. So let's go over here. So there is a couple of showers and thunderstorms, but nothing too significantly. But each afternoon, those storms do pop up. So keep that in mind. Nocturnal-based thunderstorms around this area of disturbed weather. And besides that, we're only seeing winds of about 10 to 15 miles an hour. So this is not a very, very strong circulation at all, which is good. But nevertheless, it is bringing some inclement weather to that area. All right, so keep that in mind. If you're in Galveston, if you're in Beaumont, if you're in Port Arthur, just keep in mind some showers, some thunder boomers out there at times. And that system could group up a little bit more. But honestly, it is too close to the coast. In fact, if we measure the disturbance, it is only about 30 miles offshore. I'm not really too concerned about it developing in a hurry. Other people are going to say we are going to have a tropical storm or if not a hurricane. Of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. But in my opinion, I am not too... I don't have much impetus or much of a outlook on this. I think it's going to organize a little bit more, but I don't think it's going to deserve a tropical storm or a hurricane. At most, maybe a tropical depression. I mean, that's if it can organized enough. And I just said, if it can organize enough, if it can, it might become a depression. But I'm barely up at that level right now. I really don't see much with this. There's a 20% chance in the next 7 days. That is a low chance. But there's always a chance, and that's why they have that. Okay. Gulf storm. Probably referring to the next tropical wave. Like I said, so let me go look here at the GFS. So, of course, people are going to be curious about this kind of thing. Would this become a Gulf storm? Well, we could have some sort of a storm in the Gulf. Will it be a major hurricane? There is about a 5% chance that actually happens. There is a 50% chance that this becomes a tropical depression or tropical storm. Icon model does show it. Wait, so you're telling me the latest icon model is out? Wait, we didn't look at the 0Z icon model. Did I show the 0Z icon model, folks? Did I? I don't think I did. Maybe I did. See, my Z's get to the Z of me, right? Oh, I didn't. Nope, I did not. Okay, so new information. All right, let's take a look at the Lesser Antilles again. Let's see what the latest icon is showing. Oh, what about... Oh, wait, hold on. That's weaker. How about that? It's a little weaker. Little weaker. So that tells you right there, probably not going to be a tropical storm or a depression on the approach to the island. So that's our first look at it. What about, let's see what the GFS does. Weaker equals more west. That seems more to be, David. David Lee, YouTube, that seems to be the case. That's what the 12Z run did something really obnoxious. So that's definitely probably not going to happen at all. But it is still possible. Oh my gosh. Actually, the icon... I still don't agree to that. I still don't. In 5 days, we have a tropical storm off the coast of Texas. I'm not pushing it. I am not pushing my effort on that. I really am not. We'll keep an eye on it, though. I mean, we will have to watch that. If it does try to do something, it could be significant. Welcome back, Chase. So now, what about our system on the 12Z? Interesting. Yeah, this is going way further. It's actually going this way at this point. But there is a weakness here, though. There is a weakness out here with this trough. Not much of a ridge here, so this could get picked up and turn it to the north. I'm not wishing a north turn here, but based on our synopsis on this model, again, remember, there is a weakness here to the northwest of the system, and it's going to probably turn north, it seems like. That's what the icon model is showing. I'm super forecasting because this only goes out to 180 hours out. But I still would not put money into this. I really wouldn't. I mean, just come on. Ask yourselves, like, over the Haitian Peninsula, 12Z run, way over here, a model run later. Let's see about 0Z run last night. Way down here as a hurricane. See, that's why I'm a little careful at looking at the icon model. I'm really careful at looking at that. And I will only focus on the GFS and Euro. Okay. The icon does not have ensembles. The Canadian does not have ensembles, I believe. The only models that have ensembles are the GFS and the Euro. Okay, of course, the signal's there. Okay, we do have a system to watch still in the Caribbean. But I'm going to take this with a grain of salt until our 0Z GFS and our 0Z Euro come out tonight, and our 0Z Canadian model get released. Okay, this is one model out of 3 more on the bucket list, on the batters lineup. All right, like batter up. And this is only one player on the field already. We'll see what our other players say tonight. Okay. But yes, that is certainly a possibility. This could still theoretically go into the Yucatan Peninsula. I'm not saying it's not going to, but that's why we have these models. Okay. Let me zoom up here. If I skip over your question, I am so sorry. What's the worst and best case scenarios? Well, the best case scenario is that this system, and that's coming from Chris Zard, this goes to the north. This turns north before the islands. I don't think that's going to happen. Or it mysteriously goes between these two land masses and then goes out to sea. Or it never develops. The best case scenario is that it never develops and it disintegrates. But the worst case scenario, hypothetically, Okay, this is not a forecast. This has a high ceiling potential of becoming a major hurricane. It really does. It really does. Rodney Shelby, yeah, see, people claim that the Icon has done really good with Beryl. Well, I can say the same thing. Just because the Icon does good with Beryl doesn't mean it will do good with every storm, right? GFS does good with some storms and doesn't do good with others. I feel like the GFS did pretty good with Debbie. I feel like it did, but you guys say otherwise. So, again, let's do this. Let's go back. Let's nowcast. Who likes to nowcast? Raise your hand. Put your hand up in the chat with a hand emoji. Put this in the chat. Something like that, or just a simple emoji hand. Okay. Who likes nowcasting? Perfect. You have to nowcast. You have to. Look at satellite, look at ASCAT data, and compare that to your models. Me and Ethan were doing that last night. Me and Ethan B were actually nowcasting systems like this, and we're like, oh, it looks like it's a little further north than what the GFS is saying. Maybe the GFS missed something. So in this case, the system hasn't formed. I mean, there's no circulation. But if we go and look at our 18Z GFS, what do we have? We have a little circulation versus look at our Icon model. Nothing. So that's why until a circulation develops, there's a coherent circulation, we will know a little bit more better. We will. I know everybody in this chat is like, oh, I wonder what the 0Z GFS is showing. Oh, it looks a little weaker. Again, it's one model run. Okay. We know this already. The models have not done well with this system. And they're not supposed to do well when it's entangled within that intertropical convergence zone. But based on this, a circulation tries to develop, but I feel like this is a little too far south. I really do. Our Euro is a lot further north, and we will see what the GFS actually shows. The GFS is just beginning to render right now, and I could actually show you that here. NCEP model status. You could actually go check this out too. Just click on that link, and you could actually scroll down, and right now, the GFS is rendering at the moment, and it's already running its wave products, and then it's going to start running its 384-hour forecast here shortly. Actually, it's actually running that right now, and that takes, of course, a couple of hours to render. It did the data dump, so we will see what it shows, but I'll tell you right now, see what the, actually that did shift further south. That's weird though, it actually did that. It'd be very interesting what this run actually shows, what this little piece of energy right here does. That's where that circulation really is going to get more dominant, I believe. And where and how this is going to all evolve once it gets into the Windward Islands is to be announced. But I'm not going to stay up here for the next 2 hours and streaming this. I will have to actually get to bed here soon, so I can get up at 6 or 6:30 in the morning to push out a video for you all. Because now that's if the models remain very aggressive. If there's not much changes evolving, then I probably won't have a video out, and I'll just do a live stream tomorrow night like I did tonight. Okay. So, all right. So, let's go back. There we go. So let me get to more questions. If you haven't subscribed yet, folks, please do so. Yeah, nobody knows exactly because it all just depends, again, where and how quick this develops. All right. Just because it forms further south, like what the initialization does not mean it's going to just remain further south at the end. Okay. Remember, player number 2 is on the field right now running its course. Player number 2. When can we go on another ride? That's not a question. Okay, the National Hurricane Center only focused on the Euro. What's your thoughts? Well, my thoughts are that's probably one of the reasons why is because simply that the Euro has been more consistent. I mean, this tells you a lot. If the Euro, if the ensembles are like what the NHC is showing, they're probably using the Euro and some other models, but that means there's a lot of fidelity with the Euro model in itself. There really is. And we'll see again. We'll see what the next round of ensembles show. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll look at the data and be like, oh, we got a problem. Got to make a video, you know? I like these videos, but it seems like I'm just getting more confused, especially living in New Orleans. What are you confused about, Cassie? Blue Wolf, it will make a dent in the OHC, yes. Upper ocean heat content. But not a significant dent, but it will make a dent. But it's got to move really slow, like 5 miles an hour or so, to really dent. What is your thought on the... Okay, someone did say this is an invest. It is not an invest. It is not a invest yet. Or is it, folks? I don't think it's an invest yet. Because if it was, I'd probably know that. And it's not, the chances are not high enough. I mean, it's got to probably get to like 60 or 70%, and the chances have to increase on this disturbance. Have you noticed that the NHC puts low probs on development, and then 24 to 48 hours later, systems in the Caribbean have surprised them so far this season? What's up, Weatherman Mark? How are you doing? Yeah, and maybe it is another one of those surprises. That's why we are doing these updates. That's why we're talking about this. Maybe this is one of the next surprises that nature has to offer. Hopefully not. I'm telling you right now, hopefully not. Because, you know, we've been through this. We looked at all the models. This does have a high ceiling. It does. About an hour from now, they will have another outlook out. Oh, wait, no. At 11 o'clock tonight, they will. And I will be asleep, so. Will this be another Hurricane Laura? How many African waves coming off? How many African waves will hit Gulf states by time hurricane season is over? That's a good question, Dane. Right now, the MJO is well, climatology favors this, but the MJO is not really in. It's going to be moving into a more unfavorable environment for the Atlantic, but due to climatology superimposed on these very warm waters in the Atlantic, we could still see some tropical development through the month of September, and then it could really perk up in late September. If we go back and look at our 18Z GFS run, which, by the way, we really do need to watch this right down here, folks. That little piece of energy on the GFS. We will see if that actually is able to trend further west and if that is able to develop. But right now, after that clears, of course, though, this is really far out in time. There's going to be a lot of trophiness. Boy, this is a really sheared type environment. You can see a lot of wind shear out here, perhaps. And the ridge is also smushed, too. It's more weaker. Actually, wait, no, I was looking at the wrong... Oh, no, this is the right atmosphere layer. But right now, it does not look like nothing big after the next couple of waves come off of Africa. I think things will settle down, but by the time our last system develops, we're probably going to have more coming off onto the GFS. So essentially, we're probably going to see a lot of activity in September. It's to be expected. It is the peak of hurricane season. We are about 11 days away from the peak of hurricane season, so a little over, just less than 2 weeks away. And so that it's to be expected, all right, to see a lot of this activity. I know. Oh, yeah, good point. Cactus, love your complimentary there. All 5 systems this year, folks, have made landfall, including Ernesto. Now, some of you are like, well, but Ernesto turned out to sea, though. What about Bermuda? What about the British and U.S. Virgin Islands? That's land masses. That counts as a landfall. 5 storms, 5 landfalls. Would you say that's a pretty active season? Well, we only had 5 storms, David, but we also had 5 landfalls, and also we had a lot of destruction with one of those systems. Especially Beryl really did a big, big mouthful of damage. I kind of have some kind of Hurricane Ian vibes to this with its sloppy, weird start with a 0 handle on this system until by Cuba as a hurricane. Yeah, it's kind of like the evil face. You know, it's like kind of like this. That kind of, you smile, it gets evil, and it gets evil. It's like, don't worry. There's going to be a lot of activity picking up in the Pacific, in the Caribbean. You know, don't worry, it's coming. You know. And I rarely use this word. Hopefully it's not inappropriate. But it's the Marcons. The Marcons. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Halloween's coming up soon. In about 2 months from now. I'm so dead. That was great. Thank you. I'm glad I made you laugh. Glad I made you guys laugh. Believe me, I'm not here for entertainment, but I'm here to actually show you all the forecast. Oh my gosh. David Lee, YouTube, you're funny. Any questions, anybody? Any questions? By the way, if you guys haven't checked out my latest video, that's still kind of current at the moment. Please be sure you check that out. Holy tamale! 30.2 thousand views. Wow. Wow. Thank you all for sharing that. Thank you all for sharing that. Wow, that is a lot of people. I appreciate the sharing, caring, and loving. But a little laughter mixed in doesn't hurt. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't hurt at all. Yeah, for those 300 people that are watching, I am going to try. I cannot promise. I cannot promise. I cannot. I'm going to try to get up at 6 in the morning, make my video. Not going to be as detailed as this. We're going to begin, keep it 18 to 22 minutes. At least that's my goal. But if the models have uptrended and if I see the need for a video, I will upload it 1 in the morning. That video should be out at least by 8 or 9 in the morning. I know a lot of you are not used to seeing my 9 o'clock in the morning videos in Pacific Daylight Time, but under situations like this where I work tomorrow, I work from 9 to 6, so I work a 9-hour day somewhere else. I want to still provide these updates while I'm working. So that's why I have to fit in a video, hopefully in the morning if I can. If not, we will stream tomorrow evening, probably about, say, 7:30 or so, if needed. Actually, if I don't make a video in the morning, I will stream in the in the evening. But if I make a video in the morning, I probably won't stream in the evening, if that makes sense. I have a question. Why did Hurricane Laura have no tornadoes? Every hurricane is different in simple reasons. Also, because Laura was so intense, I've noticed this. The more intense hurricanes are, I believe, the lesser chances you get a lot of tornadoes. Beryl was a different situation. And usually when hurricanes intensify, I've noticed this too, as hurricanes are strengthening up until landfall, depending on their intensity, you will also get tornado increase and tornado numbers increase as well. Of course, Weatherman Mark. Of course. Will the NHC update within the next 5 minutes? On the Outlook, not until 11 o'clock tonight. Because this is the 8 o'clock advisory. This is the 8 o'clock advisory from all 3 of these systems. If you do want to see a latest advisory update, go over to Tropical Depression Hone, or is it Hani, or Han, or Hani, something like that. And you click on their advisory, and you can get the latest update. But no one lives in the middle of the ocean, and there's actually not any area to watch right now out there in the Central Pacific. Eastern Pacific is dead, and the Atlantic is waking up. Are you able to display the... I don't know what you mean by HL, probably high and low for the barometric pressures. Yes, I could display that. We're going to use the 18Z reference model because, of course, the 0Z is coming in right now. So the red numbers correspond to low pressure, and H's indicate high pressure. So there's a blue H up here. That's high pressure, 1,022 millibars. And you can see here on the GFS a formidable hurricane on the 18Z run. Again, use this with a grain of salt, hitting Texas. You pronounce hone. Oh, I did. Okay, some people pronounce it a little different. Yeah, so it's Hani. It's Honi. Or Hone. Hone? Something like that. Bone Hone. Okay, it's Hone. All right. Rhyme helped. Rhyme helped. My day is going very well, Daniel C. Thank you for asking. Hone. Hone. All right. See, there's different ways you can pronounce things. Oh, boy. GFS is drunk. You're probably referencing the 18Z run. What's up, Elevator Tours by Rain Maves, by the way? I Googled it. Sweet. Hey, I like Google. Also, have you guys ever used Amazon Polly? Raise your hand in chat if you ever have used Amazon Polly. Because Amazon Polly, I've recently started using that for my school. Yes, I do go to school. No, I'm not going for meteorology. I'm getting my diploma, of course, so then I can go to college and then go for my meteorological degree. It's a long process. It's not easy. I don't know if you guys have heard of the term Odyssey wear at all. You guys probably have heard. I don't want to enter my information on there, but you get the idea. Amazon Polly, pretty good thing to use. And I use Odyssey wear for my schooling. And boy, I'll tell you, learning government is not no easy task. It is not easy. I don't know if anybody in the chat has done government before, and I'm sure it's been pretty tough. Can you say how old you are? I'll say I'm in my 20s. I want to get more careful with how I kind of share my age with people. I mean, I'll say I'm in my upper 20s. I'll just say that. Because, you know, the world these days is not perfect like it used to be. Any questions, anybody? Thank you so much, Weatherman Mark. Also, Weatherman Mark, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hey, Kristen, how are you doing? I remember you when we were tracking Barrel together. Remember that system? Woo! That was on fire. I am 15. Nice. 1 year away from being 16, where you can drive a car. And your birthday is just short of Halloween, October 23rd. I will give you my birthday, but not the year that I was born. My birthday, probably some of you know when I was born, and that's fine. Maybe it's not a secret anymore. It's not, but I was, my birthday is November 15th. The middle, and guess what? I was born at about 11:30 in the morning, too. How crazy is that? I mean, noon, 12 noon on a 24-hour clock is exactly the halfway point in a 24-hour cycle. And my birthday is the 15th of November, which is in 30 days of the month. It is exactly the middle. Isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that a coincidence? It's kind of like being born right on a solar eclipse. I'm November 26th. Ooh, someone's close to me. Oh, you're on Thanksgiving, though. Well, the last Thursday. Actually, your birthday, that is Hayden. Your birthday, so I think Thanksgiving is the 28th this year. Actually, I could ask Siri. Hey, Siri, when is Thanksgiving this year? Hey Siri, when is Thanksgiving this year? Okay, it is on the 28th. Sometimes it kind of gets mixed up based on the calendar, but it is on the last Thursday of the year or of the month, and it is on the 28th. So, hey, 2 days just shy of Thanksgiving. Are we going to get a Hurricane Albeline? Hopefully not. We'll see. Really interesting what the GFS likes to do with this system up here to the north of that. It's like nothing, and it just goes woof. It's good. It just blows up. It blows up. It really does. See, there's your tut right there, by the way. So if you want to know what a tut looks like, a tut cell or a tropical upper level tropospheric trough, that's your tut right there. That's a cutoff low in the deep tropics, and it retrogrades. It just kind of backs away. By the way, this would be Francine, but I don't want to pre-name a system yet. Maybe if I spit it out in one of my videos, I'm sorry. Won't do that again. If people are going to say this is going to become Francine, come on. I'm not pre-naming something until I'm very certain it is going to get named. Okay? What's up, Sun Starlight? How are you doing? Orbit Edits, what's up? 2 questions. Do you think this storm makes it into the Gulf and does strengthen to a major hurricane? There is a possibility. The Gulf waters are warm. The background environment, like we mentioned in this video, is pretty favorable. There's not a whole lot of shear in the Gulf as this moves into that area. And that outflow channel really, this could really get nasty. It can. It has that capability. But again, until we get a circulation where and when this is going to form, we're not putting Texas, Louisiana, or Florida in danger right now and say, oh, a hurricane's headed your way. We just don't know yet. You're very welcome for the notifications. Well, thank you for hitting the notification button. For those people that are watching this live stream, I know I hate saying this in my live streams and stuff, but people do still and still will forget. Make sure when you subscribe to a channel, let me go over to, let's do Pat's. Make sure you turn it on to all, not personalized, all notifications, all. Okay, it's not on my channel because it's my own channel. But make sure if you go to a channel, you have it to turn on to all. And you'll get all notifications. It is important because people are complaining sometimes that I didn't get a notification from you, David, and you have uploaded already. Oh, David, it seems like I'm not getting your notifications. Make sure on a smartphone, you tap all notifications. Then you'll be amazed what YouTube can do and be like, oh, I got a notification from David. Oh, what does he have to say? Oh, a tropical system's coming. Thank you, Daniel C. I appreciate it. And by the way, we are almost 26,000. So thank you all for that. All right, so speaking of, yep, got a big round of applause to PPP, Pat's Path Predictor, PPP, the 3 Ps. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was barely able to make his live stream. I ended up, because I was at Bible study last night. Again, those Thursday nights are reserved for that for me. Yes, I do go to church. I do study the Lord. And I go to Bible study Thursday nights and Sunday mornings too. And so, yeah, I ended up, we ended up finishing about 8:45. And then I saw, oh, Pat's live. Oh, is he going to let me join his stream? And he did. And so that's how I was able to join. But one other thing too. So now the thumbnails that I do create, folks, I don't want anybody to think, of course, to think I'm freaking people out. I'm clickbaiting. How I figured this out is as you click on the title and thumbnail, right? That's click-through rate. Watch the whole video and let me know if I'm scaring you all. Have you ever thought of that? I mean, like, watch the whole video or most of it, and you'll see that, oh, David's not hyping it up. You know, there's a difference. There is a difference. I mean, if I said, oh, a Cat 5 hurricane is coming to the Gulf, and I put a Cat 5 hurricane in my thumbnail and title, then I would probably get a lot of not so happy people, not very happy viewers. I'm trying to be real. Exactly. Weatherman Mark says, since you obviously are very smart, and I can tell, did you ever consider being a NWS weather observer? I have not considered that. There's not a lot of action in Cali. There really isn't. Only for the winter months do we seldom get like a big flood or something that goes on, or a big windstorm like we had on February 4th. Oh my gosh. You guys got to watch that video after this. Go look it up on my channel. Look for it. Great February 4th windstorm. And oh my gosh. That was the strongest windstorm that I've ever been in, at least in about 20 years. That was a big storm. But yeah, we just overall don't get a lot of weather here back west. And there's really, I mean, no, I don't bother doing that. I really don't. Doing Hurricane Barrel, the tree fell on to my neighbor's house, and oh my house, but in my house, my garage got damaged, in the other houses. 2 bedrooms got damaged and a restroom. Yeah. I believe, honestly, Hurricane Barrel was a Cat 2. I really think it was. Some of the images that I've seen, some of the damage, I really think they're going to probably upgrade that to at least a 100-mile-an-hour hurricane. Radar data barely supports it, so it's not surprising. But either way, that thing was a freaking beast. That was a freaking beast of a storm. Lost my home in Hurricane Laura. I know. And here comes another system, maybe. We got to watch this. But man, look at that baroclinic outflow. I just want you guys to look at this really quickly on this model. This is a very impressive baroclinic interaction with this trough. You can see right here, nice good trough, nice good outflow exhaust channel here, nice good baroclinic ascent. Wow, that is a formidable system. That is kind of like a nor'easter, but much further south, and you can see how all that moisture gets strung well out ahead of the system. And do I rarely say this? This system has that ceiling, and I don't like saying that, but boy, we got to watch this one. Just because, one model doesn't show this, well, also there's that level of uncertainty. Speaking of that, let's see what our 0Z is up to. Yeah, see, it's hasn't changed much. It really hasn't. So our 0Z is still right there. It is going to be very interesting what this does. Really, what is this going to do? Is this going to try to develop or not? We will have to wait and see. Oh, thank you, Angela Commander. I appreciate that. I really do. That tells you a lot, folks, right there. About you is I trust. I feel I can trust you for these thorough reporting updates. Watching from Louisiana. Okay, I might go over the top sometimes, and we all do that. But now that I'm getting bigger on YouTube, I've got to watch my footsteps. I can't trip and fall. I can't. And, I mean, look it up, on YouTube. Thumbnails. You have to entice someone. If it's a big situation, you have to entice them to watch your video. You don't want to put a thumbnail that has all blue or black on it, or bland and boring, right? You have to have some color to it. You really do. You really do. And I don't want anyone to think that, oh, it's for the views, David. You're here for the views. No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not. I am not. But you have to follow the strategy. You know, how do you get bigger on YouTube? Oh, this is how you can get bigger. Make good titles, good thumbnails, good descriptions, and insert relevant tags into your videos. I mean, I'm not going to put ever a Cat 5 hurricane on my thumbnail. There's a picture of it in my recent video, but I'm not going to display, oh, this is a Cat 5 hurricane. Some other YouTubers will say, oh, a Cat 5 hurricane's coming for the Gulf. You know, and it's up to you. It really is up to you to watch that person. I can't stop you. It's a free country. It really is. Watch who you feel that you can trust. What is the latest for Jamaica on the models? Well, you're seeing it right in front of your doorstep right now. So this is a Canadian model, so let's see what the Canadian shows. I don't want to look at the Canadian, folks. I really do not want to look at the Canadian. You're probably going to say, David's weird. David's actually weird, but I'm actually nervous. I'm actually nervous. Is it stronger? How does it look on the Canadian? I don't even want to look at it. I really don't. I'm a little nervous. As significant, as uncertain as this is, I don't even want to bother staring down at that Canadian. But please let me know. Oh, that's one person saying it's stronger. Let's make that 2. Come on. I'm not looking at it, Kristen. Oh, 2 people say stronger. 3 people say. Come on, let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That's stronger. That's stronger. Yep. That's stronger. Yep. That is stronger. Oh, man. And I cannot even imagine what this might do. Yikes. That really uptrended. And it's a little further north, too. See, that's the thing. The Canadian has been on this system. Look at this. Even the icon is on to the system, too. The signal is still there. I find it very interesting that our GFS is refusing, still not has anything on it. We're really going to have to watch. We're really going to have to watch what this does right here. This right here, that could congeal. Actually, you know what? Let me look at our vorticity plot. Oh, it's going to go. It's going to go. There's a concentration of vorticity right here over Jamaica. See, look at that. You don't even have to look at the wind, and you can just look at vorticity and be like, oh, yes, there's a footprint. And that footprint is about as strong overall with its envelope. Actually, it is stronger. It is stronger. This is a little stronger run. Just by a little bit. So it is going to be interesting. You know what? I'm going to have to stay up for this. Should I stay up? Should we just wait for the 0Z models to come out? I need to get to bed, but as long as it's showing something, boy, don't sleep. I'm not going to sleep. Oh my. Yeah, this definitely uptrended. Wow, look at, literally last night's run didn't have anything, and then you go up to here, and then look. Wow, that is a huge uptrend. That's a huge uptrend on the Canadian. Now, of course, I'm going to take this as a grain of salt. I really am. I really am. Thank you for the $10 donation. Angela. Maybe because I'm going to stay up and watch these models. Okay, remember this is player number 3. Actually, player number... Yeah, it's player number 3 on the field right now. So, yeah, this has got to be watched. This really does. And actually, we're not able to go to Jamaica here, huh? But that is strong, man. That's 50 knot winds right there at the surface. So that's going to be interesting what that does. Does that turn into the Gulf? Or does it kind of go this way? That's going to be the thing that we really have got to watch. I'm not liking it, though. I'm not liking it. From both the GFS and the GDPS model. Even so, the GFS is still weak, though. There you go. There it goes. It's going to pop. It's going to pop. Look at that. It's going to pop. Right there on the northeastern side. You can see the wind max. Lot of cyclostrophic vorticity on that. That's going to pop. You watch. That's going to pop. It's going to go nuts. It's going to go nuts. I don't like what I'm seeing. Yeah, look at this. GFS is stronger. It is stronger on this run. I kind of thought so. Oh, yeah, look at it is. There was not even 1,008 millibar. Now there's a 1,008 millibar system on that. We'll see. That northeastern quadrant right there. Right there. That's gonna yank. That's gonna yank some vorticity into this, and it's gonna feed it. What is a shear looking like on this? Let's check the shear. Is there any shear? No, there isn't. There is not much shear. Oh my golly word. Yeah, look. That is really... That outflow is definitely established. That outflow. There is definitely outflow on that. So that is not good. It's also on that other model as well. So it's definitely establishing itself with that outflow at 200 millibars. We're waiting. I'm only on 162 hours, so about the 7-day mark we're at. What about the Canadian? Let's check the Canadian. Still haven't gotten any more new frames in yet. No new frames in yet. Now you're watching this as it's rendering. Remember that website that I showed you all? Again, model status or NCEP. NCEP, model status. We're watching the GFS render in real time. As the frames are coming in, you're seeing it as I see it. And honestly, I love watching this with you guys. This is what I do. Even so, when I'm not uploading on YouTube, I'm watching the models. And sometimes my grandma has to tell me, get off the freaking computer. You're always on the computer. That's all you do all day. You're always on the computer looking at the weather and stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. But yes, my grandma is extremely important. But boy, oh boy. Yeah. Also, excuse me, bought some new headphones. Wireless headphones. Try talking. Come on. Try talking to me, folks. I can't even hear you guys. I saw your chat, Kristen, but I can't hear you. Wow, everything is just silent. And then when I take off my headphones, everything just seems loud for a second because your ears are having to readjust. And do I rarely say how much these are? These headphones were $300. They were at Best Buy. They are on sale for Labor Day. Labor Day sale there. I got these for $300, but otherwise they would have been almost $800 for these headphones. And now the reason why I got new headphones while we're waiting for the models is because my headphones. Remember how I said, you guys, my headphones were, or it was the sound card, the audio cutting out? I figured out the reason here. And if you listen to this, here are the phone and headphones acting up. Watch on the bottom left side of the screen. You can see the you could hear it. That was the issue. So the headphones were going bad. And actually, they were so in bad condition. The heat. Okay, the heat. The computer gets hot, you know. And that's bent. That's warped. Look how bent that is. Literally, it got so hot, apparently it softened up the rubber here. And it literally just, it bent this USB port. So that's why it does that. So, yeah. Weatherman Plus is right more than he's wrong. Yeah, that's true. I'll tell you though, I do like Weatherman Plus's commentary. He says, "Hello everybody, it's Weatherman Plus. We got a lot of new information to talk about this potential tropical storm, if not hurricane." I just the way his videos flow, I love it. I really love it a lot. And the best thing I like about him, he's a Christian. He actually reads at the end of his videos different books of the Bible. I love it. I really do. All right, the Canadian is rendering, and yikes, that thing is a lot stronger. Oh my gosh, Joseph, hey, we have our different flavors of people who we watch, right? I really like the first 4 or 5 minutes of his discussion, though. I really do. And then I'm like, I already know what's going on, you know? Of course, I know everything that's going on with the weather. But just, you know, I like his commentary. I don't want to talk mean about people, right? I've got to be fair with everyone in the weather community here. But I'm just saying, I love his commentary. I just love his intro. Oh my gosh, Anthony. I'm not gonna sleep until the hurricane hits someone. Heck no. I gotta do updates on this. But I've got to be, you know, I am neutral with people, okay? I don't have my picks and sides and stuff on people. If that's how they want to forecast, hey, so be it. If that's how they want to introduce their videos, hey, go for it. It's natural. I'm natural with what I do. I really am. What does the GFS say? I don't want to know. Yeah, can you guys look for me, please? Please. I know I'm weird. I know I'm acting a little weird, but I don't want to see the latest GFS. I don't want to see it. Yeah, but again, what's up, Joseph? I hope you're doing great. Okay, we're going to look over the GFS. Are you all ready? I'm nervous. I don't want to see. We're at 186 hours. I don't want to know. You guys tell me. I'm looking at the chat. If I see OMGs in chat. Oh gosh. Oh Lord. That's not good. Ready with some eyeballs, Angelina? Looks less intense. GFS? I'm going to spank you on the belly. Yeah. It is a lot less intense. It's much more broader, too. It's going to be interesting. It really will. Where's this going to go? No, it's weaker. It's weaker. But you know what, though? It's actually stronger, and it's further west, though. So I think it is stronger, because on the 18Z run, it was at 1,002 millibars. You can see it right here. 1,004 millibars, that ISO line. And then you go into the next run, and it has it 1,001 millibars, the lowest pressure. So, in a sense, this did deepen 1 millibar, and it's a little further west. So far, all of our models are kind of west this output. And there's only one model left, and that's the Euro. That's going to be the Euro. So now we're probably in line for our Canadian. Canadian is further north this run, though. So we're seeing maybe a congealance right over here. Very close to the Yucatan, or if not, that opening into the Gulf. Which, by the way, that is a strong tropical storm right there approaching the Yucatan. So we'll see what the rest of the Canadian model does once it gets out in the Gulf to see if it actually wants to strengthen it. Oh, GFS. GFS is at it. Oh, this is stronger. Oh, it's stronger. It's stronger. 997, 996. But a little bit further south. A little bit further south. Just by a little bit. Yeah, so right here is where the model had it. And it is right over here. Actually, it's a little bit slower. But I want to make sure. Let's see. I want to draw. I want to put spots on here to see if this is further north. Yeah, this is the way you forecast. You forecast this way. And you look at each run. And then let's look at our 0Z run. Okay, interesting enough. This started at a lower latitude. And so, to me, it looks like the center passes over here. So if you connect the dots, you can see that the 18Z run was more west move, and this latest run is more of a northward move to it. So that is really important because now the ridge over here to the northeast is sampled a little weaker, which means this could end up turning more like that. And actually, you know what? I'm going to keep the track up like this. I'm going to see how accurate. Okay, I estimate the landfall will be somewhere over here in Louisiana or eastern Texas. So I expect it to be between here and even over here on this run. But of course, we're messing with hot fire. We're just going out of our box. Oh, I'm a loser. I lost. That's weird. Then the ridge must be building to the north. Oh yeah, there's your ridge right there. Interesting. The euro is not out yet. And I don't think I'm going to stay up for that. I mean, I need to get to bed or else I will not have a video out in the morning. I mean, you guys will be like, don't worry about a video in the morning. We want your live stream now. But then that means the people are not going to get a video in the morning. Okay, the Canadian is right over the Yucatan. So I don't know how this is going to all evolve. We're waiting for the GFS. It's only halfway through its run right now. Oh my gosh, this is way further south. That's incredible. Way further south. We'll see if that sticks. That's incredible. Joseph, no. No. I'm sorry. If I didn't work tomorrow, then I would. I would probably stay up until the whole thing renders. I would literally stay up until the euro renders. But I would really like a video out in the morning. And actually that would depend on our euro anyway. So I just don't want to risk staying up until midnight and then having to wake up at 8 in the morning. Working 9 hours is not easy. I'll tell you right now. Especially when you have to deal with different situations at work. Yeah, working on your feet for 9 hours. I know you were joking, Joseph. I know. Ugh, golly word, I can't even stand the GFS. GFS, look what the GFS wants to do with this now. Wants to make it move southwest. West and then west-southwest. That is incredible. That is literally, I don't know. I don't even know what the GFS is thinking. I mean, look at it. It wants to curve it around. What is preventing it from hitting Florida? Well, let's look at our GFS run, our 0Z run. Probably that ridge, that's really strong ridge of high pressure. There's your problem. Yeah, that ridge is a lot further west. That's your problem. See, this ridge is evolving very differently with each run. It's not consistent. It is not consistent at all. That's your problem. This is not going to be an easy forecast. I really don't think it's going to be an easy forecast because that ridge breaks off and actually backs westward. But boy, oh boy, that environment out there in the Gulf is very conducive. That environment is very conducive. no shear, lots of moisture to work with. Not a problem for this thing to really intensify in the Gulf. Even if it spends a day over the Gulf. We saw what happened with Grace. We saw what happened with other short tracked over Gulf water hurricanes. But that ridge is evolving differently with each model run, so I would probably put little few cents into this. I mean, you can see it's not consistent. It really isn't. I mean, you can see each run is all over the place. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Again, grain of salt. Because now you all are saying, oh, at least it's not going to hit Texas. But keep that in the back of your head. It's only one run. Ah, it wants to go. Wow, okay. Look at this. It wants to go west and then kind of west-southwest if we follow each track on this. And then it wants to pull north again. Watch. There it goes. It could pull north. It could pull north. That's really slow, by the way. That is... Man, that is not very fast. That's 2 days over the Gulf. Even so if it moved to the west. If it's one run, why talk about it? Well, because people want to see the latest run. Because the 18Z is still on the table, but when you have the latest forecast, then you have to kind of take that into consideration. That is deepening pretty quickly, though. That's dropping like 15 millibars in the matter of 6, 12, 24, 36, 48 hours? Wait. Actually, that's 24 hour. Actually, this is 3 hour increments, sorry. So that drops 15 millibars in about 24 hours. Oh, and it goes still west. Wow, this is going to be a northeastern Mexico landfall potentially. 968 millibars. But of course, that's one model run. And let's see what our Canadian model is showing. That's almost done rendering. And see, that has a different track now. It's kind of like the Canadian and the GFS kind of flip sides. The Canadian was further south, now it's further north, and the GFS is further south and not further north. So, still a lot of room of error, a lot of room of possibility. And with the icon model going in this general direction, it could still be further north than the GFS. And one more run. 963. Still deepening. So see, that's a huge different run. Remember, the other run had it going up here. This run is entirely different. Like, what in the name of Frank is the GFS even on? I mean, huge difference. Huge difference. But again, don't take that into consideration. We don't know. The Canadian is still north. Is still north. Remember, though, the GFS is the weakest output. Remember, the GFS is later of developing the system than the Canadian model. Another way to see that is if we go to the Caribbean, the GFS takes longer. I mean, It doesn't develop the system really until it gets into the far northwestern Caribbean, whereas the Canadian by this point literally has a hurricane perhaps or a strong tropical storm, and it's stronger to begin with. So that's the thing to consider with this model run. The GFS is really low on the intensity and has refused. It really has not been excited about this system at all. Been really weak except for one run from 06Z. It just blew that thing up and went into the Gulf, which theoretically, by the way, look where the system is. And I want to point this out to a lot of you that are watching this. I wish I got a better sector that can go a little closer, but look at this system. 0Z tonight, look at this. 0Z last night. It's in the same spot. Exactly in the same spot, only that last night 06Z GFS was much stronger on the system. And that, if that's that uncertain, then you just can't trust this. You cannot put a lot of sense into this. But wow, that really does take off. Yeah, it makes landfall at a very strong intensity, perhaps as low as 960 millibars. But I mean, that is a really weird run. I don't know. I don't know about that one. We'll see, though, what the Euro does. Which actually, I think the Euro... I'm not going to wait for the Euro. I can't stay up that much later. I really can't. Or else I won't be able to or I won't be able to wake up early enough to release a video. Oh yeah, here it is. Euro high res. Oh, it starts at 10:13. It starts rendering at 10:13. 10:13 my time. So, man, that's literally within about the next 30 minutes. I'll see. I don't want to stay up too late. I really don't. If it wasn't for work though, I would. I really would. I put a lot of my time into this tonight and stay up. But being tired for work just makes you even more tired by the end of the day. Still a 40? Ooh, the NHC, that doesn't come out until 11 o'clock tonight. Still a 40 as of 8 o'clock. I bet you... See, the thing is, a GFS is not coherent. They might not go 50 on that for that reasoning. However, they're going to wait for the Euro to render. They're going to wait for that European model to come out. And if the Euro is as bullish as the last run, like this run, then they might go a little higher, probably to like 50%. But, I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say until that Euro comes out. But that's a big system. That's a big system in the Gulf. And actually the most aggressive, that right there is a large hurricane. Almost a hurricane. The pressure on that is 985, and the pressure is dropping pretty quickly. You can see it go down. But that's the 10-day forecast on the Euro, or on the GDPS on the Canadian. So you saw your 10-day forecast on the Canadian model. That's where it is. This is where it was 12V, and there was nothing there. So it's going to be important that there is still that signal in the Gulf. There is still that signal remaining for that system if it's the GFS or not. That's why we're waiting for the Euro to come out. Because the Euro, if it's in the same spot, that might be enough for them to pull a higher chance on it. Again, I'm being generous here. And I'm going to say the same thing like I did an hour ago. A lot of uncertainty. Just a lot of uncertainty. But I'll tell you, if it ends up in the wrong spot in the Gulf, someone's going to get hurt. That rubber band is going to snap and it's going to hit you back in the eye. And it's not going to feel good. I'm telling you right now. I think it was yesterday was the 19th year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Or was it the day before that? You got to look at other models. Well, Brian, I mean, we're on player number 3. The GFS rendered. Okay, so this drop-down menu right here. Let me show you something, you guys. I think you guys would like this. All of these are your global deterministic models, okay? The Spire Basic, that's the free version. But if you want to get an add-on with other features, you have to pay. And I'm not paying money for that. I mean, if I did an add-on... Yeah, so... Yeah, this is not free. This is not free at all. The Spire. But you could get the basic, and the basic is what it is. It's nothing too elaborate. And you could even see, look, there's no system in the next 10 days in that area. I'm not going to look at that model. I don't have any experience of that model. The only models that we really have at free hand is Euro, GFS, Canadian, and Icon model. Those are the 4 models. Anything under that, the UK Met, I haven't used that model very much. Stay in for the Euro, please. Okay. Who wants me to stay up for the European model? Please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. And I mean, I need to see hand emojis in the chat. I don't want you guys to even tell me stay up for the Euro. I need to see, raise your hand with the hand emoji. Here they come. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay. We will, I guess, since I'm that type of person, people can rely on me. But it's going to be another 15 minutes. Fingers crossed that it actually starts rendering at the 15-minute mark of the 10 o'clock hour my time. And that model renders pretty quick because they did some upgrades with it. So it should be done rendering hopefully within about 20 minutes. It takes like 20 to maybe even 30 minutes to render it. So it's a lot faster. Daha, what's up? So yes, we will stay up for the Euro as long as you guys are here watching it and stuff. Because I'm doing this for you guys. I really don't want to stay up. I want to get to bed, but if 300 people want me to stay up and watch the Euro come in, we will do that. We will do it. What do you think about impacts to Bleeze? Right now, don't let your guard down. That's what I will say right now. There's, looking at the probabilistic forecast, this look at the risk for tropical storm force winds on this model. So this is a European ensemble forecast. There is that chance for some tropical storm force winds in that area. At least a 10 to 15% chance. And then there's a 30 to 40% chance in Jamaica on the Euro. But of course, what about the GFS? The GFS, nothing. It doesn't do well with chances. So that's why I'm only using the Euro. The Euro is the grand finale. That will be our ultimate decision of what happens. What's up, PM? I know it's late, but viewers of us want me to stay up late, want us to wait for the Euro to render. And if you guys ask me, David, stay up for the APHIS. No, that model does not render until like 2 or 3 in the morning. Which model is the most accurate? I would say the Euro is. Now, some people disagree with me, but it's a Euro. I'm sticking to my gut. It's a Euro. The GFS is pretty accurate, only with some situations. It's not doing good for some reason with this system. It really isn't. It's not. It's just terrible. I mean, you let me know in chat, okay, for those people that are watching, if the Euro is showing something on the 18Z run, okay, and let's go and look at the Canadian. So the Euro had it over here. The Canadian model has it over here on its run. The Icon has it over here. I know it's hard to see. Okay. Where's the GFS? I mean, there's barely anything on the GFS. That's how you know you have to look at the majority. One run of the GFS, I mean, like it's like forecasting this right here. Look at different runs. Let's do that again. GFS, Canadian, Icon, and 12Z Euro, because the Euro doesn't go out that far. What is this going to tell you? GFS is underdoing something. I don't know why it's missing something. It really is. The Euro was so bad with barrel. Well, that's because the thing, you got to think though, too, most of the models I believe were not very good with barrel. The GFS did not do good with barrel either with intensity. Because again, it was compact. Okay, you guys are probably going to add words like that, but a small system, the models don't see a small system, a compact system, as well as if it's broad. Okay. Remember, ones and zeros, a computer model, the GEFS or the GFS is a computer numerical model. It's mathematical equations put into an image. And those numbers give us what we see on this map. I don't think the Euro needs an update. I really don't think so. I think the Euro is just how it needs to be. Exactly. Good job. A soul to soul. I do agree with that. No model can ever really forecast rapid intensification. That's why we have hurricane models. Once those hurricane models start rendering, whenever NOAA decides to do that, then we will put those into our forecast and be like, oh, something's off here. The global models are not as aggressive as the halves A and the halves B and the HWRF and the HMON. That's because then you kind of tells you that, okay, we got to really start looking at our hurricane models. Okay, Euro, GFS, Icon, Canadian are not hurricane models. I'm telling you right now, they are not hurricane specific models. David, can we talk about how Tropical Storm Hone has been resilient against the wind shear it's been fighting? Pretty briefly we can, sure. Okay, yeah, Hone, what's going on with you over there? I wanted to show you all this really quickly before we get to our European model. Yeah, look at that deep convection. It is trying its best. It's trying. You can see it right there. This is what wind shear does to a tropical system, folks. It knocks it. It's lopsided. That is what wind shear does to a tropical system. It destroys, it tilts the vortex. That's why wind shear is bad. It's poison for storms because it tilts the vortex. Your vortex goes like this. It tilts it over. Boop. And when it tilts it over, it doesn't do well. The heat cannot spread out. You can't lower the pressure because the outflow in all quadrants is very much restricted. That's a storm that hit Hawaii, I know. It brought a lot of impacts. I wish I could have went live on that, but it's just, what was I doing? I was just too busy, or I was doing something. But yeah, crazy explosion of convection. Definitely. It's like a volcano nuclear bomb going off. You can even see the shock wave, even the foreshock. That's really intense. And that is what a sheared system actually looks like. That's what you need to look for when it comes to a sheared cyclone. I'm going to try to get a video out in the morning, Rain Maves. I am not sure now. I am going to try. You guys are going to put pressure on me, though. I feel like, man, they're waiting for me. They're waiting for my morning video. I'm going to try to get one out at least because I have to get up at 6, have some breakfast. It takes me about 2 hours to make the video. And I'm hoping to have that video out as early as 8:30 in the morning. Not a guarantee. Something may come up and where it delays me. But between 8:30 and 9:30 in the morning, or at least by 9, because I'll actually have to leave for work at 8:30 in the morning. So it's going to have to be out by 9 anyways, because I just realized that. If I get up at 6, 8, it's only giving me 2 hours for me to make a video. Might have to wake up even earlier, maybe 5:30 in the morning. And that me doing work, boy, I'm going to be tired. But guess what? Guys want me to do one? I'll do one. Shan over. Yeah, but you want to see something pretty scary and remarkable? Then we'll get back to our Euro model. Is look at the Western Pacific. I mean, the Western Pacific is going to take on a big show ride for intense systems. Look at this. Here comes another one, really blowing up. And just look at this, 921 millibars. Wow, that's very intense on the GFS model. Yeah, look at all these typhoons blowing up. Look at that. All in the Western Pacific, boy, I'm telling you. Golly word, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 typhoons. Yeah, that's where your upward motion is, boy. I'm telling you, that's where your favorable MJO is. And you can see it right there, all that green, that's all the upward motion, suppressing the Atlantic. But, you know, don't get used to that. Late September, I think we're going to have a huge surge again in activity because the MJO always propagates. May, not will. We'll see how that MJO propagates across the Western Pacific into the Eastern Pacific and back into the Atlantic. Monsoon season, go crazy over there. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, West Pacific is certainly busy, and that's because of the MJO. Why doesn't the GFS ever show a 921 in the Atlantic? That's a good question, Chase. I think it has to do a lot of the warm pool in the Western Pacific, I believe. That's where most of your moisture is going to be. That's what I think, and the MJO seems to be more active over there. Just to show you guys, look at how many tabs I have open. I just wanted to show you all this. Look it up here. Look at all of those tabs. I'm internet savvy tonight, I guess. Excuse me, sorry if I sound stuffed up. Allergy season is annoying. So this is probably why too. If we look at the entire Pacific Basin as a whole, let's go to our global. We're actually able to go to our global. Come on, why are we not able to? Oh yeah, here it is. You can see your warm pool, the biggest warm pool in the world is actually found in the Western Pacific versus in the Atlantic. Look how much smaller. So that's why you're likely to get more upward motion and more intense typhoons over that area. So that's why. That's one of the reasons why the typhoons over there are ballistic. And I'll tell you what, if they get ballistic enough, I'll be more than happy to do some video updates on that. As long as our fellow friends in the Atlantic are not showing it much in the way of tropical activity. The second half of September will probably get busy. Most likely so. Now, that's not to say the middle of September isn't going to be busy at all. Not as busy as it could be if you have the favorable MJO. Which actually, the MJO right now is headed into phases 5 and 6. So if we actually go to full screen, you can see right there, the most active period in the Atlantic is usually in phases 3, 4, and even 5. Maybe 5, but right over here, probably not going to be so much. And then the most inactive period is when the MJO's over here. And then it kind of goes all around. It just kind of moves around the unit of circle. And that's the Euro, but this is the GFS right here. The GFS indicates a more intense amplified MJO signal into phase 5. And this would be through the 13th. So the 13th of September is right here on this graph. And this is over the maritime continent. So this is where we have a lot of the typhoon activity going on, and which will be going on for probably a while until the MJO gets back over into phase 8 and then phase 1 again. And this is going to be over kind of the Eastern Pacific. So that's what the different MJO phases actually mean. It's pretty much what it illustrates. And actually, you could see this even more better if we go to our Hofmuller. You're kind of seeing the back secrets of how I forecast. So you can see here, all this blue is stronger than normal trade winds in the Pacific, and then you get your westerly wind anomalies in orange. So you can see right now that the trade winds over the Atlantic will remain weaker than average because of, well, climatology and also part of the MJO. That is a look at that, but if we go to our GFS, you can see, look at this. Look how strong these trade winds are right here. Very strong and enhanced. So our La Nina is going to get more stronger because we have this. And think of this too. We get westerly wind anomalies over India, over Indonesia. And it's right in this area is where we have our rising motion. And look how well this fits. Right there. is where we have all of our rising motion. And that's where the more favorable conditions will be towards the middle of September, while our MJO, or our sinking phase of the MJO, is over the Atlantic. That makes sense. So that's why we get active periods and we get inactive periods, partially because of that MJO phase. All right, the Euro should be rendering any moment. Any moment, we should start getting some frames filling in. Are you all ready? If you're ready, start your engines. Euro's going to be available, PM. The Euro is supposed to start rendering, because I know for a fact it was done rendering like at 10:35 this morning, which would be 10:35 tonight, because it's 12 hours later. Okay, yeah, so on the European model on Tropical Tidbits is going to be delayed. That's because Tropical Tidbits is free for public domain. Okay, in order to see the European model render like the GFS as it comes out, you have to pay to see it in action. So Weatherbell, weather models, so there's another website you can see this on, is this model right here. So you could see it on weathermodels.com, model animator, and then you get this whole different selection of models, and you could actually look at the European, and this is a paid website. It really is. I mean, if I go to my account, and I don't want to show you my personal information, of course, but you have to pay. You have to pay to see the Euro render. And I think also with the APHIS model, that comes out too. And Weatherbell, I think, is like $30 a month, something like that. I forgot. So but we are going to wait. It should start rendering here in the next few minutes. Because according to what Weatherbell said on their map here, it does start rendering at 10:13 p.m. tonight. Supposedly, that's what time it is supposed to start rendering. So we will wait. We will wait here and sit and wait. Like we're at the airport. And I will let you know when it does, because you'll see a new image pop up. And this is the 18Z analyze data. So we'll see what it shows. But you can see right here too, you can see the butterfly effect in motion. So if we look at previous run, look at the run. Look at the 12Z run to the 18Z run. See how the image looks different, folks? Look at that. Do you see that? I don't know if you guys can see that. And wait the extra half hour on Tropical Tidbits. Hey, sooner is better. You get an extra half an hour of preparation. You never know. So see how that image changed? That's because the weather is always changing. And there is no ever exact forecast. Yes. For weather models, yes, I'm paying a lot a year because I get the ensembles. And also, I know that sounds expensive, folks. I know you guys are going to be like parents, like, dude, why are you paying that much for that? Well, guess what you get? You get the model lab side of it too, which means, guess what? Guess what? You could view your velocity potentials on here, on the Euro. And this is how you get images. This is how you can get the detail. It looks like another favorable period may be coming in by the middle of September, according to this model in particular. So maybe another convective coupled Kelvin wave moving over and might wake things up. We'll see. We're going to just... Because this does change. This is going to change. You can see just how much it has. But pretty interesting how that convective coupled Kelvin wave is setting up there. You can get these cool maps, folks. You really can. I mean, what else can this thing provide? Excuse me. GFS, steering flow. So you can get the steering pattern. You can get different products to your advantage. Something that you have not seen before. I mean, it's all in here, and it comes with it comes with the subscription. It really does. What website is free? Weather Nerds is free. Pivotal Weather is free. Well, there's a pay type subscription for it, but it's half of it's free, just like Tropical Tidbits. I mean, you will still get the data, but it's delayed. That's the difference. You will still get it, but it's not going to be like, oh, I want to get it when David gets it. Well, then you got to pay the extra bucks. The model should be coming out. It should start rendering. I know it's done by before 10:45 though, so it's going to start rendering really soon. Really soon it should start running in. By the way, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please do so. Because I'm going to try to get a video out in the morning. A morning update. And actually, this model that you're about to view will be put into my video. Tomorrow morning, actually. Funny enough, because the complete run only renders every 12 hours. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Three-year subscriber, thanks. Yeah, we should be getting this in. Come on. Euro, start rendering. I'm telling you guys, I'm right here on standby. I'm just waiting for the next run. I can't believe I'm streaming this. I really cannot believe I'm staying up for this and streaming. There it is. 0Z. 0Z is starting right now. Is the vorticity? Vorticity is weaker. Little weaker vorticity. This is going to be interesting. Wow, it is notably weaker. Notably weaker. But guess what? It's further north. Yeah, it's definitely further north. But see, GFS also had it further north. Now, sometimes while I'm waiting for the Euro, I just like to see the rest of the GFS to see if there's any surprises out there. And there isn't. So I don't see any more surprises out there on the GFS. But definitely some stronger trades, and the wind shear looks to be picking up. So that's going to be interesting. So there's nothing, though, on the GFS, the 0Z run. It's pretty much done right now at the moment. And we're just waiting for our complete run to come in. And the vorticity, gotta watch that, though. Yeah, see, it hasn't started yet. Once it starts, though, this should move through pretty quickly. This is the Atlantic Basin, yes. I did forget to mention that. So this is the Central Atlantic Basin. These are the Windward Islands over here. So you have Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, you know, your islands right over here. These are all your Windward Islands. And then there is Barbados. Right in there. I know this is a really hard image to kind of grasp, but I wish we got more sectors that Weather Bell would provide. So we're just waiting for more frames to come in. It does take a while, but once this starts rendering, it's not going to be long. It really isn't. And we're just going to wait. How's everybody doing in chat tonight? Hello. I'm glad you guys have been here for the last 3.5 hours. If it wasn't for you guys and all your encouragement, I would have probably went to bed already. But I'm going to stay up and wait because you guys wanted that. I will follow my will and do that. Hey, David, I've been wondering this for a while. What university is best for what I want to do? I want to be a tornado damage surveyor. I do not know which university is good. There's a lot of universities out there that are better in that sense. I'm not a university expert, so I'm very tired. I worked at the concession stand at the football. Oh, nice. What's up, Mindy? Must have been definitely tired. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Angela. So we're just waiting. I mean, we're waiting for more frames to come in. This updates pretty frequently, and we're just not getting frames in. I'm hoping this is not going to take a while. It will be done by about 10:45, though. I did say it'll take about 20 minutes to render, so it still has some time to do that. Gosh, you're making me hungry. I want to, you know what? I might grab myself some ice cream after the stream briefly. How does it look for Jamaica right now? It doesn't look as pleasant because the icon model does have this getting a little close to Jamaica, but the Canadian, yeah, the Canadian's a little bit of a different story. There is Jamaica right there. There's Jamaica. And there is your storm just to its south. So in this case, this could end up being a tropical depression or storm in the Caribbean. Oh, we're into hour 3. It's rendering. It's rendering already. So we'll just have to wait So this is the 8 p.m. initialization or analysis. Doing the analysis pretty much right now. And so, see, that problem is that vorticity is not there anymore. That vorticity little piece is gone, and it's more stretched out again. This is your problem. This is a huge problem. It's all about how this is going to pan out. And sometimes, you know what I like to do, folks? I like to look on Twitter while I wait for these things, and let's see what people say. Oh, yep, Andrew said, actually, we could read through some of this. So, while we're waiting for the Euro to come out, satellite-derived relative vorticity plots this evening show that a vorticity lobe is attempting to consolidate within the broader intertropical convergent zone envelope. This would coincide with recent satellite trends, and for what it's worth, its presence is fairly uniformly established at both the 850 millibar and 700 millibar layers of the atmosphere. If this sustains, development prospects should increase as the system pushes west, and more consistent model data should correct itself. And then I just like looking at different tweets from people. I mean, like, I like looking at this, and and look at right here. 0Z GFS deep into the Mexo as a strong H3, maybe a H4. And he does say right here, all options are being shown by the operational models over a week out. So again, this could still turn that way, or it can still go that way theoretically. So we don't know. We really don't. And then let's see if there's any more. Yeah, 5 hours ago from Andy Hazelton. This is why I like looking at this stuff, and I kind of extrapolate this and see. So he thinks that there might be a circulation trying to develop right here where this deep convection is. That is as of 5 o'clock this afternoon my time. So this is a few hours old, but you can get an idea what this looks like. And the model did pretty good. The Euro, I believe, has a good handle on what this is looking like. And then, of course, you have Rush saying, it's so fascinating, but what do you call what's about to come off of Africa? Is that all one MCS or African Eastern Wave? Man, very active off of Africa. And then you can just zoom in and see different posts from people. It's always amazing. It really is. And I always like looking at this as often as I can to see what people are saying. It is fascinating. This post is a little strange. Got to get that a like. Whatever he's saying on that. Look at that later. Okay, so we are now up to hour 18. So let's see what this does. So this is the 12Z for tomorrow morning. Man, this is going to really affect how this output is. Look how weak that Vortmax is. Much weaker on this run. Way weaker. Interesting. Way weaker on the Vortmax. But see, the GFS had it stronger too. Had it as just as strong. The Canadian. So we'll see what the Euro does. The Euro is a little bit more generous on that Vortmax. So we'll just see how this runs through. But it shouldn't take too long. But the Vormax, see what I'm looking for on the vorticity plot on this model is the redder the colors, the more spin you have in the atmosphere. And this is at 850 millibars, just like I used with Tropical Tidbits. So there is a more concentrated of spin on that model there. And if we extrapolate this to the surface wind, you can see how that all works. Works clockwork. And then the next run shows a little bit more broader circulation. It's still there, but it's broader. So it's going to be interesting. It really is. It's about the time that the system is going to start firing up potentially. I'll tell you what right now, based on the cloud cover, based on the cloud analysis right here, let's take a look at that really quick. Based on the cloud analysis on this model, we go back, it's actually further north. It's actually further north on this one. You can see the cloud analysis. So that's going to be interesting how this renders. And again, these windward islands are over here. For those that are watching, these are your windward and leeward islands. And here is Barbados down there. But it looks like the system might be moving a little north. Maybe I'm wrong, though. We'll see. Definitely a lot weaker, though. Definitely weaker, but further north at the same time. Further north. And I'll show you this on the GFS. There is the 33-hour Sunday morning, September the 1st. There's your system. And then look at your GFS. The vorticity is down here. Okay. And then let's look at our Canadian. It's even further down there. And the icon is about in the same spot. So I'm very interested of what the Euro is going to show on this. It is going to be interesting. Does this attempt to do something? That's going to be the thing. How are you guys liking this? Hope you guys are enjoying it. But again, that vorticity is what we're looking for. And now we're into the Caribbean. So this is Jamaica, the Windward and Leeward Islands over here. And our vorticity plot is out here. Glad you guys are liking this. I know it's late. I know you guys are being brave little souls here at staying up late. But this model will be done. It's rendering. Probably be done hopefully by 11 o'clock tonight. Believe me, I'm tired. Oh, it's stronger, I think. It's trying. It's doing something. Maybe not. No, it's a little weaker, but it's there. It's still there, and it's a little further north. It is a little further north. So we can see it right in here. A little further north. And it's been trending north since last night's model run. Over the last 4 model runs, it is definitely Not where it was before. So let me assume if that goes north, yeah, that could make it, that could still have it up here over Jamaica, perhaps. Oh, this is very weak. Oh my. This is nothing like the last model run. That really backed off. Wow, actually, GFS may be believable. So the Euro backed off on this. The Euro backed off on this. So far, there is not much left on that system. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens at the end of the model. But it is really, the vorticity is definitely a lot weaker. We'll keep an eye on it, though. We're at hour 60 already. Hour 60. Going for hour 70 here really soon. I am shocked. I don't know. I'm not making any says or nas on it right now. We'll see at the end of the model run of the Euro. Because it looks a little wonky right now, but what about if it gets past Jamaica? Again, the box is over here. Is where we're looking at. Might start wonky at first. That's how Ian started off, and then all it took is a favorable environment, and that thing just kind of blew up. So, it's why I'm not saying nothing yet exactly right now, but we're going to watch. We're going to watch it. We really are. Playing detective here with the model. But this is definitely further north. This is going over the Butterfly Island. And it doesn't look as strong. So that's good news. It is interesting though. But see, last night's model run wasn't good at this at all. And tonight's model run is kind of the same thing. It's just... We'll see though what all happens. We will see. But if this goes into the southern portion of the Gulf, that is definitely on the table now. That's the GFS showing that. And the Euro, but the Canadian's still up here. And the icon somewhere in this area. But I can't... Wow, this jumped very fast forward. Let's see. Oh yeah, much weaker on the 0Z run. Way weaker. It's not even, I mean, the vorticity on the 12Z run was like that. This is a 0Z run. It's not even there. I don't even think there's even a lot of spin on that. There's a tropical wave, though. But model's really having a hard time on this. trying to fix things. And this is going to be a very murky forecast. Very murky. And I would not be surprised if the NHC holds their chances. And I think they will. I think they're going to. Yeah, we're already up to day 5 on this, so... Yes, Dane. NHC will update tonight in about 20 minutes. And probably I'll even have that up in this video. The good thing is my next video in the morning will have a new update from the NHC and some new model data. But the Euro won't come out yet unless we just look at the 06Z run. So this indeed does go into the Gulf from being weaker. If it's weaker, it's going to go further west. But if it's stronger, it's going to gain latitude. We're waiting for more frames to load in, and we don't have any more frames. Yup, this is way weaker. Way weaker. Yep, this is doing a GFS. Definitely a GFS. So GFS may be onto something then. We'll see though. Euro really weak tonight. Very weak. This is the 168th. Day 7 is out right now on this. 12Z run had it a lot stronger, but 0Z run last night had it a lot weaker though too. Way down here. So I don't know if this is kind of one of those runs again where it just downtrends every night, then it uptrends every morning or something. Oh no, this is going into the Gulf. It actually turning. Oh, it's turning north. It's turning north. So we'll see what a weaker storm does. What a weaker storm will do on launch. If this actually comes off weaker, does it intensify quickly? We will have to wait and see. We're really going to have to watch this. Oh, I know, Rodney. I understand. I understand about my models. So this is almost done. We're up to 204 hours out. So this is going to be done really soon. Euro does have it in the same spot, though. And actually, not much further to the southwest. Not much further. It is weaker, though. So it struggles with Genesis, is the whole issue here. But I don't know why it's struggling. There's not much wind shear to contend with. No, there isn't a whole lot of wind shear. So in theory, it would be able to develop. Not that I wish it develops, but in theory, if there's the background state is favorable, that's why I think these models are all over the place. They are just wild right now. And we're just going to have to wait a little bit more, a few more days probably. Oh, no, this is pulling north. Definitely not the GFS. Definitely not the GFS. And that's your 10-day forecast. It was done in literally about 20 minutes. And that's the latest. Yeah, look how quick that strengthens. And pressures really drop. We're waiting for the pressure data to come in, but like, look at that. Oh, yeah. That is definitely... It's not as strong, but the signal is still there. Actually, you know what? It is... The last model run had it right here. That's the 12Z run. And here is the 0Z run. So literally in the same spot. Actually, in the same spot. Might be a touch further south, but it turns north sooner. So, yeah, this is still indicating something in the Gulf. Right here. Still in the Gulf. And we'll see what the ensembles will do. But I'm not staying up for that. So, long story short, the GFS, I mean, after looking at all of our models tonight, the Canadian, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put labels on this, and you could screenshot it. Please screenshot it and put it on Twitter if you want. But there is the Canadian model. The Euro model is over here. Okay. And then the icon, we're not going to use the icon because it's way down here. But the GFS in the 10-day time frame is over here. So let's label that. Let me make a smaller lettering. 0Z GFS. And this is 0Z CMC Gym. Okay. And then this is 0Z ECMWF. So you can see each model has its different forecast point, and there's that level of uncertainty. Theoretically, this could still, the way it's turning like this on the Euro, it could still turn and hit Alabama or even the western tip of Florida. Okay? Theoretically, it can. Can we see the CMC? Sure. So this is the CMC model right over there. This is the Euro model tonight, right over there. So Euro, CMC, GFS. So it's hard to say which one's an outlier because we don't have that icon that goes that far out. But what is more important right now, there is still that consistency that this is going to end up somewhere in the Gulf. I think that's what's going to end up happening. This is going to end up somewhere in the Gulf. And it's not going to end well. It really isn't. See what our pressure data looks like. Yeah, see 977 millibars. 12Z run had it at 971 millibars. So this is definitely weaker, but it still intensifies it pretty rapidly, pretty quickly. And this could still end up as a low-grade or mid-grade hurricane somewhere along the Gulf Coast, depending on. Now, of course, our control run is not out, and I'm not going to be waiting for that because that's just kind of one of the outliers. All right, any last questions? Any last questions at all? Do you guys want me to upload a video in the morning? Put yes. Actually, let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do a poll. Hold on, 8/31/2024. Put the date in there. Yes. No. All right, there's a poll. Do a quick poll, and we'll end it here in about 5 or 10 minutes. So that way people have a chance to vote. So, and be honest. Please vote with your honesty, all right? Because that means I am going to have to get up early in the morning, and I have to be up at like 5:30, 5:45 in the morning my time. Because again, I have work at 9 in the morning until 6 p.m. All right, so that's a 9-hour day. And then I may be streaming tomorrow night. It just depends. It really does. I probably will be pretty tired, so I don't know. But if you haven't voted yet, please do so. Vote, 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 and subscribe as well. Oh, Tropical Outlook is out. Okay. Not out on my end. Not out on my end yet. It's not out. Not for me yet, at least. So we'll wait. Angela, you don't want me to sleep? Come on. I gotta sleep. I have to sleep, folks. I'm not working like a zombie tomorrow for 9 hours. Oh, it's gonna be miserable. I can't do that. I know you guys want me to stay up. You want to interact with me. But we have had a pretty much a solid almost 4 hours with this. Oh, I corrected myself. I meant get sleep, laughing out loud, yeah. Please vote. Please vote. I mean it. Right now, we're at 81% say yes, 19% say no. So vote if you haven't. If you don't vote, I don't know if you want me to upload. So make sure your vote is there. It's not up on my end. I'm still getting 40%. So we'll see if they up it. Why am I always the last one to get the update? Do you guys know why? I mean, it has not updated on my end yet. It has not. Maybe you guys could answer that question. Like, why am I always the last one to get the update? Same. You're at 40% still? All right. The orange area probably will change shape a little bit. David, when would you say it's going to hit the Yucatan? Right now, timing is, there's a lot of differences in timing. Golly word, there we go. I needed that. Oh, this is the control run. The control run's running right now. So if it hits a Yucatan, it's going to be Saturday, September the 7th. On the Canadian, though, it's definitely a little faster. It would probably be more like Friday night. On the GFS, it would be even slower. Probably not even until Sunday. So anywhere between Friday night into Sunday afternoon. That's the timing right now. But please do not rely on this. Please, 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 please. because it's not going to stay the same. Timing is going to be back and forth. Oh, wow. They win 50%. They win 50%. I'm shocked. So that GFS model may have not been taken into consideration. It's back up to 50%. So yeah, we'll have to really watch this now. So that is the same area. And again, that area in orange, I want to repeat, this area in orange is where the potential of development will exist. So theoretically, this might go up here and develop over here, or it might go further south and develop over here and then move north. So that's kind of what this area means. What about the Gulf of Mexico? Let's see about that. Still a 20% on that system over the next 7 days, and then a 20% chance on our next system. Really, this Gulf or this Caribbean storm is the dominant one. That's the one I think is going to be the big one. I really think so. Except we cannot take our eyes off of the Texas storm. All right. Only 55 of you voted. That's fine. But most importantly, 82% of you say, yes, upload at 9 in the morning today. Well, tomorrow for me, but today for you guys. And I'll try to get up early. I'm going to try to get up early and do it, but it's not a 100% guarantee. I'll tell you what, if I don't get up, in time to make the video because I'm too tired, I will probably to see if I could kind of put in a short or something, like a little shorts video. Oh, you said no, get your sleep. Yo, I'm going to get sleep now, then I'll wake up early in the morning. Take a short one, brother. Yeah, I'm going to do a short video, probably under about 15 minutes. I don't know, there's a lot. If there's information that we need to talk about, we'll do it. But I want my videos to be at least, because I don't want to have, because my audience really likes my informative videos, very informative. So I'm going to try to make it at least 12 to 18 minutes long. Okay, because if I make a 8-minute video, I don't know. That's just how I feel. Okay, I'm going to sign off for the night. Please be safe and see you in the morning. Okay? I bet you on it. See you guys in the morning. Share, like, and subscribe. I love you guys, and kaboom!